Hello, and welcome to another horror review. I'm joined once again by Dale as we continue our journey along the filmography of Sir Peter Jackson. Today we're discussing The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. Released in 2003, the concluding part of the Lord of the Rings trilogy sees Gandalf and Aragorn leading the world of men against Sauron's army to draw his gaze from Frodo and Sam as they approach Mount Doom with their own ring. The movie was made on a budget of 94 million and brought in 1.56 billion at the box office. Needless to say, this did rather well.
Wow. Hello.
Greetings and welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure, Dale. Always a pleasure. My word, this got me in the feels. I can't describe what it was like to be just watching this again, and especially in isolation.
Yes.
I don't think it hits it hard when you stick the whole trilogy on and you just watch it back to back.
No.
But when you do the way we have been doing, it's like going to the cinema again.
Oh, absolutely, isn't it?
Because you're waiting 2 weeks before doing the next one because you don't want to jumble them up, the plots.
No.
And it's like being back in the day when they come out and like, what, a whole year? Oh my word.
Yeah, I know. Fantastic. Needed the tissue box for this one again.
I was not expecting to get a lump in the throat of certain scenes. I'm like, holy crap, what's going on?
Yeah. It does. It hits you, doesn't it? It's a very emotive movie, this one. Out of all of them, I think this is the one that really draws all the emotions out of you in a good way.
Yeah, the first one's a setup. The Fellowship of the Rings, here's the world. In terms of, obviously in terms of movies, but that's just, you're getting brought in and you're getting the idea of the peril as just awakening. The second one, the Two Towers, is just hopelessness. That's the theme. This one is just everything's on the knife edge.
Everything.
Even though you know how it's going to end, you just get this feeling it could go either way any moment.
Yeah. Absolutely. There are so many moments in there where a lot of them could have quite easily have, I mean, I'm going back 20 years ago now since this one dropped, and it still gives you those emotional, dreaded feelings, particularly with what's going on with Frodo and Sam and Aragorn, and oh my God, Faramir, and it's full on action packed. This one is my favorite out of the whole entire lot. There's lots of reasons for that, but it's a great movie. I was so glad to watch it again.
It's interesting because, like I said, once they all come out in the cinema, I've never watched them isolated ever again. It's always been a binge session. It's like it's a Lord of the Rings day, you just go clunk, and that's this turned 20 years old on Tuesday.
Wow.
Return of the King turned 20 years old on Tuesday. So 20 years ago this week, we'd have been in the cinema.
Where did the time go? It's like 20 years. It's just felt like yesterday, really.
I can't describe it. Oh, hey, Chris. We've been looking forward to doing this as well. As much. Never mind the audience. This is, if the audience turn up, fine, but this is just for us to nerd out.
Oh, nerd out, all right. Oh,
just put it on camera. Why not? So, 20 years. God, and what's frightening was I wasn't a kid. I was a fully grown adult watching this.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing that I was still excited as an adult.
Oh,
I think it's the last time I got excited about movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been having a bit of a reflection after this, and I'm like, this was the last major cinema piece. This was the last time I think any of us were G'd up for something to come out.
Yep.
Because what have we had since?
Yeah, wow. If some Hollywood stuff here and there, I guess, but other than that, no, there was nothing compared to it. I mean, even the whole entire vibe that day when it was released in Wellington, and we walked through with the parade to the embassy, and and then the after party later on that night. It was just
and it was completely different for you guys because you were in the thick of it. This wasn't as if it was just like to us it was a film. It was something really anticipated, but you were part of it. This was not just an abstract thing. You were like it really did have a place.
It did. Gosh. So,
and I don't think that's something people. I mean, that's a perspective none of the rest of us could ever hope to have.
No, and we were so fortunate because all the other premieres for the first and second movie were overseas. So for them to have this big major one here was just, it was a thank you to our country sort of thing, for having these guys here for so long, and I mean putting themselves out and coming over to this tiny little country at the bottom of the world. And wow, and you had to wait so many months in between for this last one to drop, and there was no disappointment. It was just full on amazing. I can't say enough about this movie. It's one of my favorites.
Also the fact that when you see the norm now is delays, reshoots, recasts and blah blah blah, but this we saw that first scene, the first trailer, when they were heading towards the Mines of Moria. You saw Frodo, you saw Gandalf, you just walking up, and you were told straight away, December 2001, 2002, 2003, this is happening, and like clockwork, these come out.
Yep.
And they were still, and it wasn't like they finished. I know they'd done the principal shooting for all three and they were doing it together, but they were still working on it. It wasn't like they just filmed all three and then were leaving them. It was, they'd done all the editing for the Fellowship, but then they were still working on the Two Towers before it came out. It wasn't like that. But the fact that, yes, we are releasing these movies, here's when they're coming out, and they come out and they were brilliant. And I don't think I felt like it with a movie. I know, kind of, I don't know, kind of got me in the fields watching this again. That's why, no one wanted to talk about it, because it was like, I remember just being so excited.
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
It was bittersweet as well because it was the end of the trilogy.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, oh, God, no, don't end. But they had to. Mm-hmm. And it was just, the ending. Well, anyway, we'll get into that. But
but we start off like an interesting one was we'll start off. We'll go back and we'll actually meet Smeagol.
Yes.
With As the River Folk, and we'll see how he comes up. It's actually his friend Deagle finds the ring, and this is the first person Smeagol kills before the transformation into Gollum. And oh, that was horror. Like, that's proper horror movie stuff. Like, there's no if, buts, or maybes.
Yeah, what an opening scene. That was just, we needed to see that. We needed to see the transformation, because he had the ring for 500 years, and you could, in that scene, you really got to see the power of the ring. He kills his best friend. I mean, sorry guys, spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, or
if you haven't watched it after 20 years.
I actually met somebody this week who has never watched any of them.
How is that possible?
I know, that's what I said. Are you for real?
No, and somebody that lives in New Zealand as well.
Oh yeah.
That's taken. I know I can be a bit of an edge, not even an edge lord, but just like, yeah, if it's super popular, I'm gonna wait and not get into it. But I don't get into hype at the time. If it's something genuine, if it's something I feel like the hype's being pushed on me, I'll step back and I'll leave it 6 months till the hype dies down, and then I can look at something. This, I was part of the hype because it didn't need to be hyped up. It was just the visuals alone, the ads. It told me everything. Oh my God, this is going to be good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just from this, like I said, the first trailer, I'm like, holy crap, I want this. And I was genuinely excited. So I didn't need to be hyped up, or there didn't need to be media spin. Do you know why all movies now have to be
Yep.
spun? Like, it's almost like politicians
Yeah.
giving out policies. Like the amount of spin doctors I have now for a movie
Oh,
to cover up the why it's a bad movie and make excuses. You're like, bloody hell, you're employing almost half the people, like half the cast of the movie itself, on these apologists to
Yeah.
because you're making
Or
shit.
they show you a trailer and they show you all the good bits, and then you go and watch the movie, and it's like, well, I just saw all that in the trailer. So
Yeah, what's
and
left?
that was it. And you didn't get that with this at all.
A completely different time, completely different vibe.
Yeah.
And like I said, you didn't. You weren't told if you don't go and watch this movie, you're an islamophobe.
Yeah, I know.
Watch this movie or
Yeah.
you're a bigot. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that works. Imagine that. Imagine being told, right? Imagine this coming out and going, if you don't go and watch this movie, you're a horrible bigot. You'd be looking at the person going, are you right in the head?
Exactly. Oh my God. Yeah.
What we've got instead was we're really trying our hardest, and we're actually hurting ourselves out here, and we're like really getting involved. And here's all the prep work we're doing, and we really want to show you an excellent movie. We apologize if we can't get it all or to your expectations, but we're trying our best. I'm like, that's all I want.
Yeah. Lonely.
But that's why I'm saying this is the last time, genuine last time, I've felt excitement and emotion apart from distaste and disgust.
Yeah. There is one other saga that I did get very excited about, obviously, but you're just gonna trash me.
Is that the one that went?
No, it went Twilight.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a phenomenon. That
was teenage girls.
Come on now. Come on. There's some great concepts in there. But anyway, that was the only other time I felt as I did with the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, thanks for not having sparkly video or sparkly vampires in your videos anymore. They're a bit more palatable now. It twinkles.
Oh, come on. I wasn't allowed to be a teenager, so I had to be an adult teenager. So
I did read the books.
Great books.
And I'm like, huh? Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Yes. Are you Team Jacob or are you Team Edward? No. Oh, thanks, Chris, for reminding me about that. Oh dear.
I know. All right, enough about sparkly vampires.
That wasn't this. Who's still talking about that show really, like 20 years later, and still getting the same feels?
No.
I went on the date for what was the third one? Or didn't they make a fourth? What was the one with the big battle that wasn't a battle, it was a dream?
Oh, Breaking Dawn, the second one.
Right.
Yeah,
I went on a date for that. And I honestly felt like I was being tested.
Oh my God.
I'm like,
really?
Right, is this a test?
Did she bawl her eyes out?
Oh,
was she screaming?
Yeah, it was all that type of stuff happening. And I'm like, this is a test. This is a bit early on for sort of relationship tests, you know. This is just seeing if we can get on. Like, oh dear. Yeah.
It's a make or break moment.
Yeah, and funny enough, that didn't last. Strangely, coincidentally enough.
Strangely. Yeah.
That I don't know if that was a factor or not, but like,
quite possibly.
I remember sitting there going, why do you hate me?
Oh no, God. Yeah. All right. Moving right along.
Yep. But yeah, we get the whole scene with Smeagol and him transforming into Gollum, and
Wasn't it just? It was done so amazingly. Just you got to see, Smeagol just transform, and then his eyes change, and then his face changes, and he's ghastly. He really is. He's ghastly. But yeah, you get to
believable
show the power. You get to see the full-on power of the ring. Yeah, even in that moment of just touching it, that's how powerful it was. Yeah,
which is going to be important later on.
mm.
But yeah, that's those they're waking up. They're heading obviously into Mordor. And then we sort of cut the lighthearted scene because we kind of need to balance from that, and we return to Isengard after obviously the Battle of Hell and Zane's victorious. We've got Gandalf. Theoden went with them, that's right. King Theoden went with them, didn't he?
Yes.
Isengard, yes, that's right. And obviously, there's two versions. The cinema version was a bit, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because I'm right. What? Oh, is this how we're getting Sharky? Which, if you haven't read the books, you won't get.
No, I haven't read. I will be.
Yeah. Because then I'm thinking to myself, because in the cinema version, it's like, and there he must stay. As Treebird says, there's a wizard there to deal with. I'm like, oh, right, that must be how we're getting Sharky. Because if you plan to read the books, I'll not spoil it.
No, but that's all right.
It's not in the books. Basically, Saruman takes revenge on the hobbits. And if you remember the scene with Galadriel and Frodo.
Yes.
Of Hobbiton.
Yeah.
That kind of happens.
Really? Interesting. Yeah, because they squashed so much into this movie, didn't they? I was wondering
how. Two movie, like even like I said, I binge watch the extended versions, and that's 15 hours worth of movies.
Yeah,
and it still not covers the book. It's an impossible task. It's and obviously you have Mr. Or Mrs. Philosopher.
Yep.
Well, actually, in chapter 3, you start your eyes closed and you're like, there's a difference between not covering everything in a book because it's impossible, because you just can't. It's a different medium, and doing a not a faithful adaptation.
Yeah.
And you know the difference in your mind's eye. You know when you're getting something faithful. Like, let's use a Twilight example. That was a faithful adaptation.
Yeah.
And it's easier to do young adult books because, it's not 2,000 pages long. And
yeah. Yeah.
It's a bit,
it was adapted very well.
Actually. It's a bit easier, but if that wasn't done right, you'd know. As in, if it wasn't a faithful adaptation of the book. This, it's a faithful, they're trying their best. You know that it's an impossible task.
Yep.
And you do have to have a better forgiveness for things, not being 100%, because when you look at movies today, maybe it's easier to be a bit more forgiving, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, but then you got the other version, the extended one, which I trust you've seen.
Yep, I have.
So that's
the 4-hour one. Yeah,
where
absolutely.
Gandalf confronts Saruman, and Wormtongue loses it because he's being treated like dirt, and then he's the one that kills Saruman, which I need to get the books again. But I believe Wormtongue does kill Saruman, but he kills him in Hobbiton rather than he kills him in the Shire rather than on the tower. Yeah, because
oh wow, that's different.
Oh, it's it's a whole other, because when they return home, they don't return. There's a whole 3 chapters.
Wow, that makes sense.
Right. I think I've described this before you. Like in the Two Towers, when they're going down that hill, that's 4 chapters, 3 or 4 chapters of them just
Yes.
getting down from the top of a mountain. That's the way Tolkien wrote. He was in no hurry to do anything. And a few songs
Wow.
thrown in as well. You're no way. That would be a movie on its own. You know, you're no way you're condensed. You're
Yeah, yeah.
adapting all this verbatim. Just not happening.
Nah, there's no way.
But
The book's too big.
there was a funny thing that Peter Jackson was trying to explain to Christopher Lee. This is how I want you to act when somebody gets stabbed in the back. And he's like, have you ever been around somebody that's been stabbed in the back? That's not the noise they make.
Yeah, no, I watched it. It was brilliant. Oh my goodness. Something to do with World War II or something or other. And
Christopher Lee was an RAF officer.
wow.
And he got attached to clandestine units in World War II, and he acted as a liaison, and he went out in missions, and he was basically he was badged SAS as well.
Wow.
And he basically he's nothing to prove. He had nothing to prove in life. Like,
And look at him. Well, what he did.
he helped, and he was legitimately nit and gritty, and he was known in the circles. So he's the real deal. He wasn't, he wasn't a Walter Mitty or anything or a fantasist. He was like legit special forces.
Wow.
During the formation of special forces and clandestine and intelligence units.
Wow.
So he was not somebody to mince about with.
Yeah. Ooh.
And one of his things, I found out some later interviews, one of his things was when he goes to different countries, he would try and collect the cap badges of their special forces units.
Yep.
And there's actually an interview with it was a German show, and they went and it was like it'd be in the German show, but they had talked about a Belgian unit and that he'd been searching for like 30 years. He could never get a hold of this badge. And that this is how much in regard, like even in the media, he was treated. They went out and hunted for it, and that's not like just media people. You have to be like proper, know the right people, get in, and these things are rare as hell, and they'd actually managed to get it for him, and he's all like, you see him being completely stunned, going, I've been looking for this for 30 years, and like break it down. What are you doing? It's going on my wall. Where do you think? It's going on my wall with the rest of them. I have a place that this should go, and like proper excited.
Oh, jeepers. That's awesome.
And he's an example, I think, of like the last of a breed of when you think how trashy and cheap actors are today.
Yeah.
Like, you do feel like you're getting bargain basement entertainers.
Yeah. I mean, you have gems like Christopher Lee, you have Anthony Hopkins, Clint Eastwood, these big names that just, I don't know, they've gone into directing now.
But they've got a gravitas about them. They weren't, and if they did do anything, they kept it quiet,
Yeah.
But they had a gravitas. Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, you had absolute classics, gentlemen and ladies who, you could look up to.
Yeah.
Even outside of their acting, they understood that it was something they did. And they didn't have the silly stars in their eyes, I think Vincent Price was kind of fell in that category, like more the American side. But we've had these people, and I think we were lucky enough of that generation that we grew up with them.
Yeah.
And we still got to experience them.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, just that interview alone, and
yeah, that was great.
Just a little snippet and the sort of person that was on set.
And that it also shows, Sir Peter Jackson's commitment to the movie as well, and to what he's doing in his life, and he can take a suggestion and not rubbish Christopher Lee for saying, this is really how it is when you get stabbed. It's not it's a
Yeah.
And not that we got to see it, but it was brilliant. Well, unless you watched the extended version, of course. But it was awesome little clip.
Just the idea of the cast edging away, going, "Oh, right, okay."
Yeah.
But if you think about the people you had on this as well, both Christopher Lee and Ian McKellen, for example, both were, the sort of people that read this book every year. It was just the thing.
Yeah.
Every year since I wish I'd read it more. I'm too flighty. I've read it, left it for a few years, maybe revisited it again. But people have done this like every year, just read Lord of the Rings, and you can tell how it's actually affected them in terms of, vocabulary, just mindset.
True.
Just going back over it over again, because you can't read it once. You don't get it. It's heavy. It's a heavy book.
Yep. Very heavy book.
But you've got Ian McKellen, for example. He's got the book with him on set, just in case. Okay, let's have a look. Does this feel right? When you've got people that dedicated, now they'd be laughed at.
No, exactly.
And be derided. And look at Henry Cavill, for example. Look at the way he got treated. He's being treated. When he's tried like The Witcher's, it's a sort of modern example, but he tried to go, I've read these books, I've played the games, blah, blah, blah. And just absolutely derided because we've got these bargain basement hacks in entertainment.
Yeah.
I think this was kind of the last example before the rot set in of there's, without sounding hyperbolic, something pure. Is that over emotional or is that hyperbolic? For me to say that?
No,
the intentions of making this series and this movie were pure. There was a love of it. Yeah, it's a business. Yes, make money. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're also allowed to have integrity and want to do something for the right reasons.
Yeah, exactly. No,
like I don't think that's a wrong thing to say. This is like the last example of sort of.
It is, and you don't see it anywhere else. You don't see it with like the Conjuring series or those sorts of franchises or anything like that. You don't see any commitment that you saw in Lord of the Rings with Peter Jackson.
Darth Loverboy, welcome. Jackson uses horror so cleverly in Lord of the Rings. It's never obvious or gratuitous, always a service to the action or the drama. Yeah, we've been talking about this for all three movies. Horror as a tool, and I don't think another director, like the fact that Peter Jackson is primarily a horror director, it took that understanding of the horror genre.
Yep.
To bring this to screen, because if you look at other fantasy series, they're all shiny, they're all glossed over.
They are.
The only one I can think that isn't like that is Conan the Barbarian, where it's not kind of glossed over, but any other but Conan the Barbarian wasn't really for general audiences, was it?
Conan the Barbarian?
Yeah. The ones with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
They were more for an adult audience. They weren't matinee.
Were.
These are family movies, but still, he used horror effectively.
He did.
And he didn't shy away from it. Like when we talked about the Two Towers and the Dead Marshes scene, like that's pure horror. You wouldn't see that misplaced in a Hammer horror movie of old.
No. Yeah, there are, especially in Return of the King, there are some very graphic and gory scenes in there, very horrific scenes in there, but
it needed it because you needed to get this sense of this is an all-consuming evil.
Yep.
And if you don't see evil things happening, how are you gonna get that into your head? How are you gonna get emotionally invested?
Yep, that's right. Yep, and it wasn't just one city; it was the whole entire Middle Earth was about to be annihilated. So they all had to come on board somehow to save the place. But it wasn't just the Shire, or it wasn't just one place it was just like the
nowhere
whole
would be safe, so there's no standing
Yeah.
back. You stood up or else you fell. The
Yeah.
last person to get it was Merry, and he had the hard lesson.
Yes, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, when he picked up the Palantir.
God.
But even Pippin got it, because we saw that in, like, those two are the comic relief, and we see that by the comic relief at the start, after the battle's done. But we've also seen those two step up.
Yes.
And then now we get the chance to them individually, because we've seen them as a pair, and this is where they break off individually and sort of have their own journeys.
Yes, and it's done really well, isn't it? They separated them quite well, actually, and yeah. Although they were very light characters, they didn't stay that way because the journey had changed them.
Yeah, and you can't.
It's like we saw Sam.
And this is what annoys me about a lot of modern movies. Like, there's no hero's journey anymore, and you can't go through something and not change. I always use, I know they're stupid examples, but this is why I don't really watch other genres apart from horror now. And I've just found myself retreating into a little horror bubble, because look at the Michael Bay Transformers movies. Now, they are sick on a plate. But look at the, Shia LaBeouf's character. He did not progress from the first movie, the what was it, the 25th or 26th movie that he appeared in, whatever. He's the same character throughout. Now, you don't go through the events of the first one. Now, I like the first one. Yeah, there's a bit of grating language, as in just dumb language, but at the same time, there's enough of a story there that had me intrigued. After that, I gave up, because it was just like, what is this nonsense? But his character never changed. And you don't go through things like that. You don't have life-threatening events. You don't meet other races and aliens, and you don't expand your horizons outside of your own little bubble and not change as a person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we see this in heaps of the characters in this particular movie, as that they've all developed into somebody completely different, for better versions of themselves. You can see that they've been through a journey, they've come out the other end better for it. And Sam is just a shining example of that, his complete transformation is amazing, actually. He's the hero in this show. This one, he's about 4 or 5 times he's come to, anyway, we'll get to that. But the character development in a movie, in a series like this, has to be very, we have to see it, otherwise it's not relatable, it's not realistic. How can you go through all of this and still be the same person at the end? It's not realistic. But Peter Jackson did it amazingly, with all of the characters' developments.
And that's a good point, actually, because people forget that. And you see independent horror movie creators, you see independent writers that try to do horror, fantasy, sci-fi, and they get lost in the fantastical, and they forget that it's the grounding, it's the reality that gives the audience or the reader that grip. And we've obviously talked about this quite a lot, but it's always good to bring up again, because here, this is a good example. That reality of people's reactions of dealing with the fantastical, you don't get that if everyone's often, already there. You as an audience just feel lost and going, what's going on here? But you need that grip of reality to, like, the fact that it'll take them 5 weeks to get from A to B. So obviously an eagle landing and picking them up and carrying them is a fantastical thing. If everyone was flying about and zipping, and you don't have... Game of Thrones was terrible for it. You had no concept of time.
No.
Of how long it took an army to travel. Obviously, an army compared to a small unit is completely different. We're here. We have at least 5 scenes of the Rohirrim traveling.
Yep.
And they're sent out the Outriders to try and get them in, but you've also got that sense of urgency. They're waiting just for the Path of the Dead. But it's like, we can only wait until tomorrow. If people don't catch up, they don't. So that army could have still been like forming and going, and you get that sense of, this is not a small thing just to pick up an army and go and same as the Helm's Deep. you don't just pick up an entire civilization and go, right, we're all going to hide. It doesn't happen. That realism is what gives you a sense of the world that you're watching, and so many people have forgotten that.
Yep. The pacing was perfect. I mean, there might have been a couple of instances throughout the whole trilogy where there might be a bit of pacing might be off, but all in all, the pacing was really well done, and that was because we got to see the journeys. We got to see the journeys just together and separate, and yeah, it was really well done.
Yeah,
commendable.
That's clever.
Yep.
You know, that's not money. That's
all in the writing though too, isn't it? You know, it took 3 of them to write it. So I mean, character development in a story is really, really important anyway. So you have to transfer that over into your into a movie, like they adapted it into the movie really, really well. So not that I've read the books, but I could just imagine that the whole thing is about a journey. Obviously, and I guess it's not just a journey to save Middle Earth or to save everybody. It's a journey of self-development and enlightenment and awareness and all those sorts of things.
So many layers in this.
It is. There are,
and that doesn't happen by accident. That's hard work.
Very hard work, and you can see that playing out in this particular movie. Out of all of them, it's just actionful, and how he managed to contain everything. Wow.
This movie could have ran away with itself very easily. That's a good point to bring up. Like epic battles, and there's stages of battles, and there's 4 different groups of characters having 4 different journeys, and even breaking that down into subparts.
Yeah.
Like you've got Aragorn's journey, you know, they actually come to terms with the fact that he's Isildur's heir and he is the king, and he's been rejected at, which was done differently in the books because that's another bit of a continuity, because they wouldn't have been wearing the white tree. They weren't wearing the white tree in the book. That was only reserved for the king, and it was only when Aragorn actually announced his name in Return of the King, because he was always Strider up until this point.
Yep.
When he gets Narsil, and you know that moment of him accepting his role that he's always rejected because he was afraid of the failures of his forefathers. Yeah.
That was a brilliant scene when we see the sword come out.
And we still got a love story in between this as well.
Yes.
Like Arwen and Aragorn, like that, they still have time without feeling as if you're losing anything. They managed to put that love story in and keep it. Because do you know why a lot of movies now, it really winds me up. Here's a love interest, as in here's a love story. Let's just park that to the side and we'll bring her in 5 minutes later before the end and we'll tie it all together. They didn't do that here.
No, they didn't. Nope. There are little glimpses of it there and here and there, and it was great. It really carried it along. Yeah.
Even the scene between Arwen and
Arwen.
No. Lord of Rivendell. Hugo Weaving's character, Elrond. Oh my god.
Elrond.
Oh my god, did I just forget that? I'm a muppet.
That's all right.
I'm terrible.
You're forgiven. Elrond.
But the fact that Elrond realizes, because when he feels her hand goes, your hands are cold, because you'd already given away her immortality, so even her moving to the Undying Lands was not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
And her life, well, it would only have prolonged her life, but she'd already given away her mortality. And Sauron's grip on the land is actually directly related to his daughter's life. Like, it gets that personal.
That's amazing.
And her love for Aragorn, and the fact that she knows that he's on a knife edge. Like, this whole thing's about knife edges. Everything's like, could go either way. And it's done with so many. It could have been really contrite, but it wasn't. It was done with heart.
No.
Like, this could have been so messy and awful.
Yeah,
Like,
and
because there's so many
chaotic.
moving parts.
Yep.
It took a real master to put this together.
Yep.
It's a shame I have to do the rest of the series.
Oh.
We're going to look at that and we'll see what happened. But yeah, it's so
Yeah,
many
their love
moving parts.
story is it's so sweet, isn't it? Their love story is so sweet. It's just something that really, really needed to be in there.
Yeah, but
You
it
know,
didn't take
obviously.
over or it didn't take away because he managed to
No.
bring that in. It was Arwen then convinces Elrond to create Narsil because it was that
Yes.
time,
Yep.
and then fulfilling the
Yes.
prophecy again, and then him actually arriving and even King Theoden, like when he meets Elrond, it's like, oh, I'm out of my league here. This is all above, here's a king going, this is above my pay grade sort of thing. I'm
Yep.
out.
Yep.
But that's simple. I'll take my leave, and well, I'm not getting involved in this. This is way
Yes.
above anything. I've dealt with quite a lot here in my people, but I'm out.
That's brilliant.
But that was
Yeah.
such a subtle line.
I know. There's lots of those, though, isn't there? Some really doozies, some real great quotes in this movie that have stood the time,
Yeah, but the
20
little
years later.
inflections, if that was done today, that would be explained in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Theatre will have to explain, oh, this is obviously the realm, blah, 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 blah. Yes, I will take my leave, after a 20-minute monologue and everyone getting involved and you'd be bored to tears. Where a simple gesture,
yeah,
of this is way above me. I'm not getting involved. These are matters above my station as a king. You kind of get the gravitas of what's going on.
You did. You absolutely did. And
with
that's
a nod and a sentence.
Yes. And that's what he does with subtext. Oh, he's just amazing with that, Just, he's a master.
Mm-hmm. And then that's obviously we'll have the conversation. And
yes,
that's where
even that moment, oh God, when we find out she's dying, it's just like, oh my God, it's terrible. Yeah.
Since Middle Earth represents Europe, does heading west to the Undying Lands represent America? If so, those elves are going to be mighty disappointed.
Oops.
No, the plan was not to send the best and brightest.
Oh, crikey.
Was
that Chris?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Chris knows, I don't even say his name now. You know it's a Chris. Most I'll say it.
Yeah.
It's part of the Chris is great, just part of the channel.
He's great.
Check out our Tremor series, by the way. Absolutely amazing. Like, we're having such a laugh. Even we're crying about it now because it went bad, but we're still keeping hope that can be redeemed.
Gosh. Oh my goodness.
We also meet Denethor, who is absolutely bonkers mental. He is the personification of spite and jealousy.
Yeah, he's so obviously, because it seems to have we've jumped into him and we don't know the backstory. So obviously,
we got a bit though in the Fellowship of the Ring. Boromir, when he went to take the ring, we got a hint that things weren't.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, yeah.
And we also got a bit with Faramir when we first meet Faramir in the Two Towers. We get the feeling of two haunted men with a spectre looming over them, and it's easy to mistake it and think, "Oh, it's Gondor. They're desperate because they love Gondor."
No. So it does have to do with the rings, does it?
No. Why they both were so desperate to grab the ring. It wasn't Sea of Gondor, but they're both got the shadow of their father.
Right. Okay. All right. That makes sense. All right. Okay. Yeah, because that was obviously, if you haven't read the books, you sort of see him, and it's like.
But don't forget as well, when you're reading the books, you're not getting this. You know what I mean? You're following the same. So it's not explained. You know what I mean? Don't forget, books have reveals too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
It's you have to remember as well. Books don't just explain why. They give a hint. A well-written book will give you a hint of what's going on, and then the reveal will be later. Just as a movie, it's just a different medium for doing it.
Yeah, but yeah, they made his character ghastly. Obviously, nobody likes him, and then obviously what he does a little bit later is not very nice at all.
You get a bit more of an explanation in the book. It's rampant, and this is the bit where they've made him a ghastly character, but they haven't really got the bitterness or the jealousy, the fact that he's a steward and not the king. Gandalf says it, but you don't, unless you've read the book, you don't get the full. That's the only bit where the movie falls short a bit. However, how can you know what I mean? There's, once again, this could evolve into farce and have me explain everything.
Yeah, I still got it, even though I didn't watch. I haven't read the books. I still got it. Yeah, I still got the.
Denethor's line has been going as a steward since Isildur's fall.
Yes.
Denethor's line has been a stewardship, but the family's never been given the king. That's always been held, and that's where you see it with the little black chair and the throne. And you could make parallels to today's royal family. Like,
yes,
still being in a powerful position, a well-respected position, but not being enough because you want to be that chair up. And you've seen how that spitefulness and jealousy is played out, still being played out today.
Nasty.
And certain people are going the same direction. They're going to be falling off the cliff, if not already. It's only a matter of time. It's happening.
Yeah, wow.
And that's one reason why in my personal life I've disadvantaged myself a lot by shunning power. Because I have read too much of this sort of thing and seeing what it does to people, where I'm partly afraid of it. I'd be afraid to chase it because I would not like to become that person. And you see it in companies, you see it in kingdoms. What was it? King Patrick and the Rift War series, Remedy Feist, absolute pleb. I've seen too many of these characters just get consumed, and even though they have anything they could ever want and 1,000 fortunes they could never spend in 100 lifetimes, because they're not that one seat up that's eating away at them. You actually see it played out today on YouTube. You look at YouTubers scrambling for likes, right? And you could be a top tier YouTuber with millions of followers, but because that other YouTuber has 1,100,000 more than you, that's not good enough. What you've built is because you're looking at that other person going, and then you see that sort of content. I stay out of the sort of. That's why I'm kind of worried about who interact with, if that makes sense, and collaborate with, because I've seen that sort of side of it as well. I'm like, I want no part of that. And I'm probably disadvantaging myself because if I jumped in there, probably the channel would probably shoot up. But Denethor's always been a warning to me.
Oh, really? Yeah. No. Well, you keep your integrity because that's the most important thing. Really,
that's spitefulness and lust for power's sake, and it never being enough because somebody has more.
Yeah.
It's not even envy, because you can be envious of someone and that can be inspiring to you, but this is just outright hateful jealousy.
Yeah, absolutely.
A poisonous emotion.
Yes. Even the way he was eating, even that was just, that just goes to show.
How did he not get salmonella?
Yeah, I know, right?
That was my question when he at the dinner scene. How is he not in the Kazi afterwards, like dropping everything?
He probably was.
Like,
oh no, gross.
have you ever done
eh?
that? Have you ever cooked the chicken drumstick and like started to bite in and you say, "Oh God, no!" Straight back in the oven.
Oh yes, yeah, a couple of
Or you've done it
those.
at the barbecue and it's like
It looks perfect, but you cut it
you
open
take out
and
and you're
it's
like,
red.
"Oh no, no, no!" And you instantly your guts start going. Even if you haven't eaten it, you're like, just instant reaction, and he's just sitting going, "Arf, arf, arf," because that
I
was
know.
chicken blood.
Yeah, right. I know.
Oh,
So it just goes to show what sort of a character he was, right? Oh God, without saying it.
yeah, and that scene, like when Faramir returns and just utter hatred towards him.
It's just, yeah, man. Like, oh yeah, I wish it wasn't you. Oh, I wish you would have died instead. And oh my
Yeah, and
God.
sending troops like at them, and everyone knew they were riding to their death to try and
Yeah,
retake Osgiliath because that was not happening.
yeah.
These are
Oh
not, and once again, these are not mindless beasts.
no.
Which it actually annoys me about betrayal of orcs when people do that. It's like, no, there's a reason why you'd be afraid of them. They're mindless beasts. There'd be nothing to be afraid of because we have a firebrand that run away.
Yeah,
This is a highly organized, focused unit
yeah.
of people
Yep.
who have purpose.
Absolutely. They're terrifying, aren't they? Oh God.
And we're seeing their captains and their generals, and their captains and generals have just as much organizational skill and grit and showing steadfastness to their troops as.
Yes.
And you need that because where's the threat then if they don't have it?
There is no threat. If they're stupid zombies or whatever, they're stupid, well, doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make sense, does it?
And
Because they would be a threat. They could be annihilated just like that.
Yeah, just
but
outmaneuver them, out-tactic them, but this is not what this is.
no, I mean, you can see the way that their formation is in that, when they're marching along and that they're all in formation. When you see them coming out of that green place. What's it called?
Minus Morgul.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, when you see them trooping
Which
out
was
of there,
minus Elas, because that was would meet the Army of the Dead, but that was their original stronghold before they betrayed the West, because they actually fell in under Sauron's power while Sauron was alive, and then their betrayal is what doomed them, and then the Witch King of Agmar takes over minus Isil, and it becomes minus Morgul.
That's right.
Sorry, nerd.
Yeah. I'm glad you know what you're talking about then.
Sometimes it slips out. But yeah, just having that, and even that general, I don't think it had a name, but the orc general stayed in his own troops, who were like, when the catapult started.
Yep.
And he's like, steady, and he's shown resoluteness and leadership, not just whacking them with whips. It's actually showing leadership that they're like, much like we've seen King Theoden do, much like we've seen Aragorn do. You're seeing that on both sides.
Yeah.
So that's when you got a formidable foe. But that scene, because I don't think we had a beheading up to this point.
No, not yet.
Jackson was slacking, you know what I mean? It wasn't nothing. He was like, we haven't had an old Peter Jackson beheading yet, because he was saving it for us.
He was saving it, all right. He must have been thinking, how can I do a beheading differently in this movie? I know, we'll just chuck a few heads at you.
Yep. Release the prisoners. Oh my God.
Release the prisoners. You mean their heads? That was so well done.
Yeah, and then the reaction as well of now, you tell me a non-horror director that could do that so effectively.
I can't. No.
Who does severed heads except horror people?
I've got directors in my head, and I'm thinking James Cameron.
No, that'd be CGI.
Yeah,
you felt the squelch.
Yes,
like you actually heard the thud and the squelch as those heads hit the shields and went a big meaty slaps and fell out of their helmets. Look at the features. Lucas, he did have a head and it was all nice and clean, and everything was still in the helmet, all fluffy and pretty. Like that's not a beheading.
Nah, there's no one that could have done that. No, there's no way.
You get the meaty slap of that decapitated head.
You do.
And falling out of his helmet, and you're like, yeah, it's
ghastly and it's wonderful, really.
It does the job.
Peter Jackson's, signature move. And he didn't disappoint. He upped the ante.
Absolutely, and that's what you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well done.
Yep. We're having this epic scene, and then we're back to Aragorn. And he's along the path of the dead, and he tries to go on his own, and it's like Gimli and Legolas are like, yeah, really? You think you're going on your own? Yeah, that's happening. We've been through all this together, and you think you're just going to walk off?
No. Well done. Very well done.
But we'll get one of the best ever inscriptions or carvings, like really chilling to the bone. The way is shut. It was made by those who are dead, and the dead keep it until the time comes. The way is shut. Like, there's no ambiguity about that message.
No.
You come in here, bad things are happening to you.
Yep. And it could have gone very badly, but it didn't, thankfully. But yeah, no, that was a wonderful line, and it still gives me chills to hear it. Oh, God. Just a beauty.
But yeah, even that whole scene, I must still see a bit of the sort of green, of minus Morgul, you kind of see a bit of that filtering even here, that seems to be that energy. These people are damned.
Yeah. That was actually one of my favourite scenes, was seeing those ghosts, seeing the dead sailors. That was just chilling. Even to watch it yesterday again, it was just like, oh wow, yeah. So it's just the creatures and the creatures in this film were really, really well done. From the Shelob.
Oh, Shelob, yeah, we've got
Shelob to blimmin' the ghosts to just amazing. I loved it.
Because there's the interesting one. We'll get the Shelob but just Aragorn going and facing up these things, and the fact that Narsil can counter the sword and just grabbing the ghost.
I know.
Even the way Viggo Mortensen says it, what say you? Like, it wasn't the big hyperbolic speech. He just matter-of-factly, I will hold your oath. If you fight for us, I'll hold your oaths fulfilled. What say you? And just that beautiful tone of language.
He's so powerful and strong, but he doesn't act like it. It's like he's got this. Yeah, no, he's not, and he had the potential to be. Because he's come from royal blood, obviously, he had the potential to be an asshole, I guess, sort of thing. But he didn't. He's these little one-liners, the way he carries himself after he accepted the sword back. He changed, he it's like he came into himself, and so these little speeches he gives, the one at the end, and then the one, when he's telling them to decide, it's just so profound.
We're seeing the king.
Yeah, exactly. You can see that it's in him, but he had been trying to, because Strider was quite a dark ranger, who people just didn't like, sort of thing. And then when he came into Aragorn, it was just like, whoa, the transformation was amazing. Yeah, he's a beauty. He's great.
I can't see, looking back now, I can't think of an actor that could have done that.
No,
I genuinely can't see anybody else's face And
No.
I've seen loads of memes. Oh, this person was going to do this and that, and you just can't see anybody else in these roles because they embodied them.
They did,
and you just
They did.
couldn't you just couldn't see it being anyone else, any of these actors, because they all just got on board, and you have that sense with this movie as well that everyone's on board. They are the characters, they're in the zone, and we're actually seeing their personal journeys. You know, they're actually portraying that. Where they couldn't even remotely do that today.
They didn't even need to do. I mean, well, they did need to do it, but they, you know, without what they did with the characters' journeys, their individual journeys, that movie wouldn't have worked out. I don't think it would have worked out at all, because everyone would have just been the same. You know, the characters' journeys are very important in these in the three movies together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. But then obviously we'll go back to, because the Two Towers was very Sam and Frodo centric. Yep. This is given the rest of the sort of working parts to go together, so we're not seeing Sam and Frodo as much, but it doesn't mean that their parts are any less. Now, strangely enough, because Gollum is leading them obviously into Mordor, and this is where we see Minas Morgul. This is where we hear about the Witch King.
Yep. Wow.
I remember seeing that in the cinema and just like going, whoa, you know, even though I knew, seeing the Witch King of Agmar, you know, and seeing Minas Morgul and the lighting they use and everything else, just announcing that this is happening. I know it's kind of jump back, but you have to kind of stick with this part of the story. Then we'll go back a wee bit, because obviously Sam and Frodo and Gollum's leading them, and to see this all happening as they're trying to sneak up through the secret stairway. And stairways are the loosest of terms. Who the hell built that?
Yeah, my goodness.
Health and safety, have a word.
I'll ring them when I get off. Oh my God. I just remember seeing that scene for the first time and going, how the hell are you going to get up there, guys? You know, and then you see this toxic glowing green building, and oh my God, this Dementor thing coming out, and these wraiths and the army coming out, walking across the bridge. It was just like, it's full on, but it's all in the same scene. It was so well done.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had this terror, you know, associated.
And the rings almost went, I'm home, you know, and practically drags Frodo with them.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mean to assume the Ring of Power's gender there. Sorry, SJWs, don't get upset with me. The entity.
Oh, crikey. Yeah, go away.
Yeah. had to get a wee dig, because this was the last sort of well, sadly prevailed. Have a much happier time, by the way. We're not all sitting miserable crying in their phones. We actually lived life. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why we could do this and take it with a pinch of salt, because we live life. You know, it's fun. Enjoy it.
Yeah, we got life. Yeah.
We got to see this first time and experience it, so that's why we're happier than you.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Oh, crikey.
But yeah, we're seeing obviously leading up to the betrayal and all the mind games being played. Because Gollum knows that Sam's ever watchful.
Yep.
And it's only Frodo holding him back from running them through with a sword.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's a very tentative relationship they have going on there. Yeah, I wouldn't trust Gollum, but I guess they are where they are now.
Well, we'll get it in the Fellowship, because remember Frodo says it's a pity Bilbo didn't slay him.
Yep.
And Gandalf says, well, it's pity he stayed his hand, because we believe there's a part to play. And Galadriel even says that, yeah, even though you feel like the forces of evil are moving against you, the forces of good work too.
Yes.
So we'll get this idea of, you know, a larger game being played, and you're not on your own. You're just, things are being moved, and there's a reason.
Yep.
It's all about your gut instincts at the end of the day. If you know you're about to do something out of spider hate, I suppose that's the message. If you know it's purely out of venom and not justified, then maybe don't do it, because
Yeah.
there's a
It's not gonna
reason.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, that's kind of the underlying theme, that Gollum still has a part to play. We don't know it,
Oh,
but
certainly does.
when the time comes, I mean, there's no reason why he shouldn't be run through, but obviously there's something there saying he has a part to play, and it's not necessarily always the forces of darkness. Very
Yeah.
interesting the way it's played out. But this
Yes,
scene
indeed.
was actually the end of the Two Towers, believe it or not.
Was it?
Yeah, so the cliffhanger
Wow.
was in the Two Towers, the book,
Wow.
was
Okay.
Frodo getting into Shelob's lair and getting stung.
But they put it into this one first instead.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe to
Because
add
the
action.
Return of the King starts off with that bit after Frodo's getting led away, but that's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
To do that, but I don't think it really destroyed anything story wise.
I don't think it did either. It sort of added a lot to the movie, I think, that scene. The whole scene with this spider was so well done, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I just remember the first time I watched it, and even yesterday it looks better in 4K. It's just, wow, the webs and oh god, you really do think that that's the end of him, but it's not, thank goodness. But yeah, I mean, the potential for him not making it was very, very real in that scene.
Absolutely, like
Very
I said,
real.
everything's in a knife. Anything could go wrong. You just have that feeling, even though it's a story, it's going to turn out, but because of the level of storytelling here, you're invested. You're on the journey.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, we got that played out, and we see Sam finally break. Or it looks like it's the end, the knife edge for Sam, because his
Yeah.
character has been resolute right up to that point.
Yep.
When obviously Gollum gets up to his mischief and makes it look as if Sam's eating all the lambus bread and throwing it off the side, and the whispers in the ear. We've seen that played out in real life. Like, that might seem ridiculous, but we'll see that get played out. People say this, say that, and message this, and doesn't it happens.
Yep, it does. It's quite sad to see that Sam was told to go away, really, considering
Yeah, but don't forget, the ring is whispering as well. It's working.
It's working. You can definitely see it working its magic in that scene. Not that we get to hear what's going on, but whatever it is it's powerful enough to change his mind and to become disloyal to Sam. And when you see him reach the bottom and he realizes what happens, what's actually happened, it's like, it was a real sad kind of emotive moment as well. And it was, what's going to happen here, sort of thing. And then when we see him turn up, and how Frodo, exactly, he was just like, who the hell is this? Sam's a completely different person. He's like held it all in and contained himself right up until that moment, and then it was all on for Sam. He was just like,
but that was his crucible. You know what I mean? He's agreeable, and he doesn't want confrontation. And that's where it led him, and then that's his crucible to go through, because that's important as well. There are life lessons in this story, believe it or not. That's why they're eternal. If you're agreeable and you avoid confrontation all the time, you're going to end up getting yourself backed in the corner. And that's a lesson I need to learn, because I don't like confrontation, believe it or not.
I don't either. I can't stand it.
I don't like who I am when I get confrontational. I'm not a nice person. So I avoid that part of myself, but sometimes it's absolutely necessary. Sometimes you're just backed into a corner and that's it. You got to come out. And when Sam sees that, he had a choice. He could have either went off or, go the way he did. And that was his crucible, That's where he comes out the other side and grows as a person.
Absolutely.
Because he hadn't really changed, let's be honest. Sam's been resolute. That's what he represented.
Yeah.
But he was still Sam. He was still deferential to Frodo. Still taking the lead from Frodo and not being his own person, even when he knows something's wrong. He's avoiding confrontation because he doesn't want to upset Frodo. His love for Frodo, this is where he had to make a choice. He has to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And then that's where we see Sam just come through, and someone like that is just not someone to mess with because he didn't lose his purity.
No, not at all. He kept very stable the whole way through. And then when it came to the crunch, we get to see just who Sam really was, his character developed so well in the last movie. He was just, and there were about 4 or 5 points where he came in and saved the day, That's why I said he's like the unsung hero in this movie. In this particular movie, how he just came in and saved the day like 3 or 4 times. It was just amazing. Considering and this, he's still calling Frodo Mr. Frodo.
But that's that was part of his feelings as a character as well. Like I said, he has Frodo up in this pedestal, so he's almost refusing to see that Frodo's falling. And it took that moment of the betrayal to happen for Sam to actually shake that off and understand, well, I still love Frodo, but I'm gonna, even if he's not acting in his own best interests, I will. Where before he's just been taking the lead and could lead them into disaster. If he had just been obedient and done what he was told, well, everything would have been lost. That's where, back to this whole thing of everything being on the knife edge, one little element just falling apart could derail the whole thing.
Absolutely right. Oh God, it was on knife's edge the whole way through it. Absolutely. I mean, biting my nails and sitting there going, "Oh my God!"
Even after
I know what's going to happen, but
still after watching it 20 times, you're still going, "Ooh."
Oh, I know, because it's so visceral, isn't it? It's so, lovely. It's terrifying.
But we'll have that played out. But one thing that wasn't really overemphasized in this was when the orcs start fighting with each other.
Up in the tower?
Yeah, but did you notice what that was about?
Weren't they fighting over eating Frodo?
No, but did you not notice that there was 2 factions of orcs?
Oh yeah. There was.
So you had Saruman's
Saruman's. Yep, and then you had.
So you had the White Hand, the Red Eye. So this was actually starting this is the follow-on effect of the basically Saruman losing his power, the falling apart of the Alliance. And do you remember the warning at the start that Sauron doesn't share power?
Yes.
And Saruman believing that he was going to be an equal.
Yep.
But this was that, the orcs of the Red Eye were superior in their mind, and the White Hand orcs were just subservient, and then that battle plays out. That's what it actually was about, this alliance, falling apart.
Right, I see what you mean.
You either were subservient or not, and then that's where that sort of falling out happens.
Yeah, that was a brutal scene, wasn't it? Just goes to show, doesn't it? You don't know whose side are you really on when you've got no commander or whatever. Your commander is gone, is dead, or not there. What can happen? I mean, they.
But it's interesting to see the politics as well playing out on Sauron's side.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the politics played out because we had a moment as well that when Aragorn says to Theoden about, will you come when Gondor calls? And Theoden's like, no. What have they done for, it was about to fall back into, because the immediate danger's past, and we're about to fall back into the old rivalries. But we're seeing it happen on the other side too, which is what makes it, these are not mindless, once again, just a mindless horde. These are working parts. These are altogether abysmal, but they're still thinking beings and have their own machinations, and there's a reason why they sway under the banner of Sauron, so to speak.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, we see that all happening, and then that scene where the goblin or the orc's like, I'm going to stick you, and Sam's like, nah, I'll stick you first.
I know. Brilliant. Absolutely.
And this is also the only time that Sam gets tempted by the ring.
Yes. He it was really. But was he really tempted?
Well, the ring was whispered. You know what I mean? When you think the ring is almost a full power, it's close to its master. It's actually in Mordor, so close to its goal. It's going to be ramping it up. Like, it's not going to be whispering. It's going to be screaming. And everyone else had it, but Sam effectively got full blast of the ring. I don't think it really played out, that you could see the intensity of it, but it was there, and you see him just have a slight wobble.
Just a slight one, but even that was enough to think, oh, well, he could have taken it. He could have.
Any moment.
He could have. Yep, any moment. That's right. He could have killed Gollum and taken the ring and had all the power in the world.
But it's good as well, because they're not just carrying it. This thing is alive, it's animated. Yes. It's kicking and screaming.
It is.
And it knows like people's thoughts. So
it wants to go back to the mum. Yeah.
But it knows it's getting taken to its destruction, and it doesn't want to be destroyed.
No.
And it's fighting the whole way, and you're kind of, if it was like Gollum, they're trying to grab and kicking and screaming. The ring's doing exactly the same thing, and you needed those moments to show that.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, because without it, well, we'd be wondering what the heck, it's just a ring, but it's not really.
No, and you need those moments of every time it gets a chance. Like the minute that gets in the orc's hand, it's over.
Yep, exactly.
The minute that thing's, I'm going to, it would be running to our thing, just.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly. Be running up, the minute that fell into the orc's hands, that's it. That thing is, you'd chop its legs off and it would still run to its master, because it knows,
it's close to home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then sort of flick back again after that scene. We sort of flick back the battle, and things are just looking grim.
Oh. Hope it's kind of giving you a little bit of a hopeless feeling, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Just everything could just go chaotic, but I mean, it was just done so well. It had you gripped to the seat, going, "Oh my God, what the hell's going to happen?" There's so much going on, but they managed it so well. And I mean, when Rowan come riding in. It's just amazing.
I heard that horn. I remember in the cinema.
Wow.
Hear that horn, and we knew it was coming. And you still got that lump in your throat of, absolutely amazing. But we also have, is it Mary went with, because Pippin went with Gandalf. Mary's the one that went with the Rohan. And he was all dressed up, ready to fight, and it's Eowyn, like, come with me.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
But that scene when the reality hits, because we're going to battle, this is great, and then it's, oh shit, we're going to battle. We're going to get absolutely minced to pieces, and horrible things are going to happen, and things are going to get stuck in places where they don't belong.
Yeah. God, that was a real Braveheart moment, wasn't it? It really gives you a real Braveheart moment.
Yeah, God.
Well done. Well done.
But that's what kings did. They led from the front, you know.
Yep.
Back in the day, it's not now. Like their position of office, you know, they're
At the
generals
back.
led from the front.
Being protected. Yeah. Yep.
Because
right.
that's the only way you kept your troops in line. You showed leadership.
Yep.
It's what 19th century things started changing, like Napoleonic Wars or round about that time. It's where all of a sudden you got the armchair generals, and it was
Yep.
the word just became less, I think, because it's easy to send loads of troops forwards to their death when you're sitting in an office or sitting at the back tent, nice and comfortable. It's an intellectual exercise, but if you're leading, then you're going to be sure.
Yep.
It just shows
Yep.
it.
We've seen that a few times.
Sorry.
We've seen that a few times over the years, haven't we?
But don't forget this trilogy. I mean, this obviously is Tolkien's life work. He spent his, you know, his entire life working on it, but it was his experiences in the First World War. That's what this all. No, understand that war is necessary, but these are the leaders you need.
Yeah.
Because how can you respect anyone?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And obviously, Gandalf goes crazy when Faramir's brought back, even though he sent him there, knowing it. The realization of what he's done just sends him over the edge.
Yeah, he's nuts. Oh, that's just, yeah. Oh, what he does is just terrible.
But then we see Gandalf step up again. You know, he effectively leads Gondor for a brief moment.
Wow. I know. Yeah, those scenes were just chilling, really. God, we really, you know, it's just like, oh God, who's going to live this? Who's going to live through this? You know, everyone's going to die, even though we already know it's going to happen. But you know, if you're watching it for the first time, it's just like
yeah, but you don't know who's going to come out the other side. You know, that's the you know, even if the ring gets destroyed, like if Gondor falls, does it matter?
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
If there's an entire orc army and they're in Minas Tirith, then does it matter if Sauron fell at that moment because the job's done?
Yeah.
And there's always as we've seen, there's machinations, there's general. It's not like it's just Sauron and a bunch of drones.
No,
it's not an ant's nest.
No.
So this is a fully, and I think you needed that idea that even if the ring got destroyed, well, it doesn't matter if Gondor falls. If people fall by the wayside and there's nobody to lead the west afterwards because if the orcs have got a hold, well, guess what? They're ruling, even if they're leader, because someone will step up and take the position.
Exactly. Very apocalyptic. Very apocalyptic, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but that was the whole sense of that. That's what we were looking at, because it was Merry took the longest to get his head around. Oh, why are we involved? Well, because this is coming to home. We don't get to sit out.
Right.
This thing is a juggernaut, and it's going to keep going because that's just what it does. Consumes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we're seeing all this playing out, but yeah, the arrival of the Rohirrim and the speech and King Theoden, you know, leading just that ride and the whole just touching the swords, and you see Eowyn ducking her head down to not meet her uncle's eye.
Yeah.
And then realizing this might be a bad idea.
Yeah. What's my done? Oh no. Oh, she's brave as anything, that chick.
Yeah, did you see my note?
Yes, I did. I can't stand her anyway.
But there was, this is always going to come up every stream, but how is it possible a strong independent woman before Jennifer Lawrence? Because they didn't exist until she appeared from on high.
I know, right?
And that's what I mean. This is what we've got today. If you listen to even Liv Tyler, who was not really known as she's not a stage actress, she's a sort of Hollywood son of a daughter of a rock star.
Yeah.
A bit ditzy about it, let's be honest.
Yep. Yeah.
She's a wee bit of an airhead.
Yeah.
She even has grace and composure talking about these movies and getting involved and feeling privileged to be part of them, like getting such an important role.
Yes. Yes.
Look at
She
what we
loves
have today.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, the actress that plays Eowyn, apparently Liv Tyler goes, you're a girl, I'm a girl too. It's all these blokes. We can paint nails and like have pink stuff. Apparently that's what she ran up there because the actress that played Eowyn was a bit intimidated.
Miranda Otto.
Yeah, was a bit intimidated coming into this with all these like
She would have been
legends, and then Liv Tyler just apparently runs up there, gives her a big hug, and goes, I've got a girlfriend, and just made her feel right at home.
Oh, how gorgeous!
Even though they've like one scene together in the entire thing.
Yeah,
they're all part of the production. Do you know what I mean? They were there together in the off time.
Yeah, how awesome! How awesome!
But yeah, then we get people like today, and you're just like, you're trash.
Oh,
you're bottom of the pile.
Not nice. Not nice.
Chris, what do you think would have happened if the roles reversed? Sam carried the ring and Frodo helped him. It wouldn't have been this. No, Sam wouldn't have. Sam needed to be Sam.
Yeah, Sam wasn't. Sam's
an enabler. I get it because I see bits of myself in Sam. Some of us like rather than take the lead, like to push others and see others succeed. You know, I mean, that's I've always had that sort of role. I love to like build people up. I love to see others go forward.
I do too. Yeah.
There's a satisfaction knowing that you've helped someone who didn't believe in themselves, and then you watch somebody take those steps, and they do better than you. Fantastic. That's the whole point. The student, master and student sort of thing, teacher and student. That you always want the student to prevail.
Yeah.
Like go push further forward than you ever could. That's we all have different roles in life. I've always seen that as mine as an enabler and empower.
Yeah.
Sam's that person. So
he is.
Sam wouldn't want to be the lead. He wouldn't be comfortable. He wouldn't have done it.
No.
In fact, he wouldn't
have.
He's
the ultimate wingman.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Yeah.
But that's an absolutely legitimate role.
Well, as we see play out in this movie, he plays a very vital
Frodo
role.
Wouldn't have got very far without Sam.
If it wasn't for Sam, the whole thing would have gone.
Jennifer Lawrence references make for a fun drinking game. Yeah, do the horrific podcast bingo. Somebody set that up. Every time I Colin makes a Jennifer Lawrence joke. Colin fights with Cameron. Cameron likes the movie, Colin doesn't, and vice versa. What else? Yeah, that'll be a class one. Horrific bingo. Somebody look at the podcast and see all the silly shit I come off with.
Oh my god! Awesome.
I'd be interested to know myself because obviously I know I've got mannerisms, and yourself, Chris, and Steve, Cameron, and Adam, I mean, are regular contributors. So the way I see it is they're part of the show as me now. You've been here long enough.
Oh, thank you.
That'd be a cool thing to have. Just the whole horrific bingo. Just have it, and what does Dale say? It'd be interesting to have something like that pop up. It'd be like,
yeah. How many times does Dale say, you know? And Colin and his Jennifer Lawrence jokes. Oh gosh. Yeah,
or having a jibe about the star things. That'll probably
I
be
wouldn't
one.
cast her in a movie even if I had sorry. And she falls over all the bloody time. Oh my god. She can't even stay on her own two legs. She goes to get awards and she trips up the stairs. Who the hell trips up the stairs? Jennifer Lawrence.
Absolute joke of a person. I just see now she keeps popping up every so often. The reels.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking. Yeah. It's like it's like Ken Whackable. You think you've just God, don't show me, don't show me, don't show me. She goes away for a while and then she comes back in full force. And you're like,
I
and
know.
that other creature as well, Emma Watson.
All right.
I've got
God.
the three people, Jennifer Lawrence, Emma Watson, and Big Dumb Johnson.
Yes.
I cannot stand him either. And every time they pop up, I'm like, go away, go away, go away.
Oh, but I love watching her trip up and down the stairs, though. That's why I care.
Yeah, but you
She
watch
gets me
one. The
back to my
problem
real.
is, you watch one and you'll get
I
bombarded
know.
because the algorithm gods go, you like this stuff. Brrr. And I'm like,
Yeah, I know. Oh dear.
But yeah, even the cast in the background and their interactions with each other, you just got that sense of they're all on a journey together.
Oh, hell yeah.
What do the Muppets do now? They go in front of a green screen.
Ugh. Yeah, I know, right?
And
It's terrible.
You
terrible.
see,
You can see it.
you see this sort of fake, ha ha ha, we're all in the same team together, and then the minute their NDAs run out, they're all slagging everything off.
Yeah.
Because we're starting to get the NDAs run out for the Star things.
Yeah.
And now everyone's coming out going, nah, I hated doing this. This was terrible. Nah, 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 nah. And you're like, yeah. We could tell where this, when you see the cast get together, you see interviews, you see they're invested. They're like, I am happy to be here. This is brilliant. I'm hurting myself. What is it?
Getting covered in mud.
There's one when Colin says because that's a Northern Irish thing. I go that'd be a horrific bingo tick. But they're invested. They're happy to be here, and you comes across on screen.
Oh hell yeah!
And that's why you're 20 years later, we're still like gushing over this movie, and it's not even just to be. Because if this was a hyperbolic YouTube video, this would have went out on Tuesday.
Right.
And to catch up with the algorithms,
Yep.
If it was that way inclined, but we're on this journey ourselves, and we're having fun. I hope you see that out there, that we're genuinely enjoying talking about this stuff, because it's great. It's a moment in history.
The car hasn't been repeated. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
I've said that Gollum is like Jason or Michael.
Oh God. Isn't he just?
How many times are you going to crack that thing over the head and throw it over cliffs and beat it? Keeps coming back for the sequel.
I know, right? And you'd think for him being such a frailing 500-year-old creature that he'd be quite fragile, but he's not. He just bounces back. It's just, you think he's gone and he's back again. It's like, wow, okay. Does he have supernatural powers, or?
But he does almost, because they said that he spent the longest with the ring. In fact, he spent longer with the ring than Sauron.
Yes, he did. He did. But then that's because he went and hid away, didn't he? So
because Sauron was effectively destroyed. It took Sauron that long to effectively rebuild his essence again.
Yes, isn't that just powerful?
And we're never going to get that tale, unfortunately.
No. And Gollum, oh my God, he's just amazing. He's just one of the best characters ever. Yeah, he's super.
Shay rants. Gollum's like Michael. That's what I said. He's like Michael or Jason. It doesn't matter how many times you beat him and throw him over cliffs, or you could set him on fire, you could stab him. It doesn't matter. He's straight back in there.
Oh my God. Michael Myers. Absolutely.
Oh dear. Then we'll just get it all we'll see the elephants arrive. We'll go back to, like, we're flicking back and forth between these really tense, epic scenes.
They were amazing. Even before seeing them, we got to see the rhinoceroses, sort of rhinoceros hippo creatures that were pulling the big wagons along. and then you see the Oliphants, and it's like, oh my god!
Do you remember in the cinema?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember feeling like that was on? Do you remember that thump, thump,
The ground
and
thump? Yeah.
the horn?
Oh yeah,
And
man.
that first rider was a psycho. He's like, you know, he
Yeah.
was off his head. He's like mental.
Absolutely.
I just remember going, oh shit, they're only in, like, it was a cavalry
Yep.
charge, and oh, that's a cavalry charge, and then it's like, they're only on horses. They're not going to last 5 minutes.
Yep. No, that was a pivotal moment where it was like, nah, this isn't going to end well. This isn't going to end well. You can't beat them. No. But then you see, yeah, well, I mean, because 300 tried that too with the Oliphants, didn't they? And it didn't really work as much as it did on this. No, definitely.
Do you know what? The more I think about that movie, that's typical Snyder though. Flashy, you know, he uses the same camera lens or whatever.
Yeah.
There's no substance in what he creates.
No. No.
It's just,
there was a movie that you could watch once and be blown away by it, and then like,
oh, shiny lights, you know, like modern
yeah,
movies. Oh, shiny lights, and then when the shiny lights go, you're like, what did I watch?
Yeah, it's one of those. Yep, exactly. I mean, great for the first time, but you don't. It's not one you pick up and want to watch again.
No,
you know, because you've already seen it.
Nothing there.
There was no substance to it. No. But yeah, just in terms of the Oliphant sort of, you know, creatures, I remembered that it was something I'd watched, and it was 300. I was trying to remember which one it was, but it was 300. Yeah, but yeah, when you're sitting in the cinema and you hear that thump, and your chair's shaking, it was just like, oh my god, because we've never seen anything like it before, eh? It was just wow. And then when we got to see how they're so big and scary, but how quickly they could be taken down was quite amazing too.
Yeah, but that's all tactics at the end of the day. It's, if you've got the right tactics and you're resolute again, and this is the whole thing that a lesser king could have buckled.
Yep, absolutely.
And
turned away and run off and go, no way.
Yeah, where things could have fallen apart, but no, it's like we'll figure this out, and then they start using tactics, and then you have actually more than them taking down the elephants. I love the horsebow battle.
Yes.
Between the elephant riders, you know, and they're almost like cockpits. You know, it's like they're in gun towers, and the horse riders. You know, they're doing. It was a completely different sort of warfare because it was all lances and pikes and cavalry versus infantry. Now we're getting straight up, you know, something different.
Yep.
And it became a different sort of battle. The only disappointing thing was Legolas, because he just they obviously hadn't figured out the CGI, but he just looked a bit comical.
It happened in the last movie too, when he went grabbed. Yeah,
I know what they're trying to portray, but it just doesn't look. That's the only disappointment I have, is just Legolas's movement, and I had no problem with Legolas as a character. Orlando Bloom did a decent job. At the end of the day, he personified Legolas. He had some of the greatest lines. You know, really poignant lines in this. But that flippy, spinny stuff,
you could tell it just didn't gel. It just there were only 2 moments in the whole film with those two bits. Just they didn't mingle it well together, or didn't mash it together well enough. But we still got to see that he's quite agile, and
just like I think it was.
I think where he comes down the trunk. And then I think that was brilliantly done.
Yeah, it's the flippy, spinny stuff that didn't really.
One arm. Yeah.
I think it's just the technology. I don't think they quite got it, but then again, CGI looks worse today.
Oh, of course it does. Yeah, absolutely.
So it actually looks dreadful today compared to back then. And that's the only niggling complaint of 2 scenes essentially.
Yep.
An entire trilogy of movies of 20 hours worth of film. I think we're okay. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's about where Aragorn arrives with the army of the dead, comes in from the flank just as the Rohirrim are taking on, because they're already handling themselves. It's not like Legolas came and saved the day. It was just they joined in the battle.
Yep, that's right.
Which is cool. And then the rivalry that started in the Two Towers between Gimli and Legolas carries on. Even that little scene where they're about to go into the lair of the army of the dead, where Gimli's like, a dwarf will go under, or an elf will go underground, where a dwarf will not. Oh, I'll never hear the end of it. And just little moments of levity. But you see these two playing off each other, and you know there's it comes across as sniping, but it's not. It's a bond of brotherhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which plays out later on. But it just gives you you need those little moments of levity.
Yep.
To lift you up, because everything is just so tense that you can't stay at that level the whole way through a movie, or else you just get burnt out and you get overwhelmed.
Yep.
Which is what they try to do now with movies. They try to keep you up at that level and they forget how to bring you down because they can't write scripts.
Right. And you need to do that in a book as well, when you're
absolutely. It's storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can't maintain it. And that's where Peter Jackson is just so brilliant, because he's a horror director, but he's also got this comedic side to him that is just so light and fluffy and really just, I don't know, that has the potential to be quite cheesy, but it never does. It doesn't get cheesy.
Because he's got that out of his system. Like, we've started this journey right from Bad Taste.
Yes.
And we have seen him at his most insane.
Yeah,
just letting rip.
Yeah.
And we've seen him mature as a director. Like, he couldn't have done this first out of the bat. He needed those movies out of system. It's 7th Street Productions. If you've seen our chat with Calvin,
no,
I can see it going on with his movies. Well, we it was haunting. I've re-uploaded the video anyway, the segment from where we've actually covered one of his movies, Conjuring the Beyond. So it's our review of Conjuring the Beyond. We'll have Calvin, the director, on with us, ripping the shit out of him for his movie.
Oh no!
But what I said to him, and he sort of agreed that we're having fun. You know what I mean? It wasn't like because we ripped the shit out of his first movie, Haunting in Ravenwood, and he's like, "Do it again, do it again." So we've actually got a regular feature of his every time one of his movies appears. It's like, we've got to watch this. We've done like 5 of his movies. But I said to him, there's a movie that you want to do. And now that I've done this series, I realize what it is. He hasn't had his Peter Jackson moment. He hasn't had his completely bonkers daft movie where he's just thrown it all in there.
Yeah.
So he's trying to make these serious movies, but that comedic side of Calvin's coming out, and it's actually getting in the way of the movies he's trying to make.
Right.
Where Peter Jackson started off taking 2 years to make. Was it 4 years to make Bad Taste? 2 years. 4 years.
Yeah, about 4
Sorry,
years.
It was Deal took 2 years to make Rib Spreader. Sorry, all the directors I know. I'm like, I've got all your timelines in my head.
You can only hold so much in his head at one time. You can only hold so much in your head at one time.
Yeah, I've only got a tiny brain, by the way. I know I've got a big head, but it's a wee tiny brain in the middle. But yeah, Peter Jackson took 4 years part-time to make Bad Taste, and it was just on a shoestring, and he got all his madness brain dead. He did the same, just got it all out of his system. So then we were able to watch the journey, and that journey needed to happen to get to here. And that's why we've got Peter the way he is doing this, because he's got a lot out of his system. He knows how it can look hammy as hell, and he knows how not to do it.
Yes, he does.
But he's got those tools.
Yep. He went batshit crazy back in the 80s. And then, hello.
Late 80s, early 90s. Actually, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't like he was beginning. Late 80s, 90s, and 90s, sort of 90s creator.
Yeah,
like he was at the tail end of home rentals, VHS.
Yep. Wow, I know.
God, we've been
Gee,
through that too. Kids,
yes,
honestly,
but
that
it
was
was
a
Bad
time to
Taste was on.
behold.
Yeah, God, Bad Taste was on VHS. So
I had it.
mm,
I remember the
my brother
poster.
had it.
I remember the poster in the video store. Just thinking, that is cool. What is that? This is
Yeah,
mental.
yeah. Who's this crazy man, Peter Jackson? Oh my goodness,
That's
he's
why I
not going to
laughed.
go very
That's
far.
where when this first came out and they said it was Peter Jackson, I'm like, bad taste guy. What? And I still remember laughing, seeing Wingnut Films. I'm like, really? And it's being all dead serious. How is this happening?
Yes. And now we know how he got to
And
where
that's why
he
this
is.
is on a horror channel, folks. If you go and check, there's a whole playlist of the Peter Jackson series of movies. Like, this guy does
Oh
not mess
yeah.
about. He's a serious horror, and we have had so much fun doing it. And it's
Oh, I swear, Brain Dead is my favorite horror. Oh, I
oh
loved
man,
it.
that's
Nothing compares.
Meet the Feebles is close. Actually, that's really on the knuckle.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's
That's a yeah. Is that
that's
showing my personality? Oh.
that's where I can't figure out what I am as a sort of movie reviewer, because there's movies I'll absolutely rip to shreds, and then I just love stuff like this. In fact, Shay's going to be joining Chris Cameron now as we do the Toxic Avenger series. There's another mental.
Oh
What?
God,
Hush
that is
thy
the
mouth.
worst.
They are fun. Behave yourself. You stick to your Twilight and sparkly vampires. We're going to have some fun with Toxic in the new year.
Lucky I'm not going to be on there because it's the worst movie I've ever
They
seen
are.
in my whole life. Yuck. It's the worst shit I've ever seen.
It's intentionally bad. That's the whole fun of it.
Oh,
Even
no,
the bad
but
dubbing was intentional.
oh my God, when
It's
I
a
first met my
parody.
ex, and yeah, I know.
It's not
Oh,
meant to
maybe,
be serious. That's the whole fun of it.
oh, it's a boys one. It's a boys
And it's
movie.
allowed. You have sparkly vampires.
Yeah, I will.
So these movies aren't for you.
I'm not going to. I'll watch your review.
Are you going to be a toxic fan and boycott my channel, huh? Am I
dare
channel
I?
going to fail because of toxic fans like you? Is that the way it is?
I'm sorry, but I cannot agree with you on this one. Let's agree to disagree.
But that's kind of the whole beauty of having, like, we've all different personalities and likes and tastes, and that's what makes it fun. God, how bored would it be if we all just like the same things? It'd be like one movie.
Oh yeah, no.
It'd be this one, obviously.
Oh my God. Okay, moving right
But
along.
we've fun times ahead. Times ahead. Don't forget, we've still to do the Hobbit trilogy.
Oh yeah.
We've got that ahead of us.
I'm looking forward to that. But I haven't watched it with this
Chris, I've never seen the Toxic Avengers, but Dale has me nervous now. Yeah, I've committed Chris the 3 movies, an animated series, and a computer game.
Oh, good luck. Have fun. No, Chris, you might actually really like the movie because it's a boys' movie. Trust me, there's some titties in it too.
Babies!
Some boobies for you, Chris.
I knew it. That's why I suggest, because I do appreciate that. Because we'll have to get we've actually been doing a lot of sensible movies, so our KPIs have actually fallen down.
Oh dear.
I know we've been lacking in the movie front because we've been doing like loads of movies that don't have any.
Yeah.
So the new year we'll have to redress the balance.
Yeah.
Although we managed to get movies in this series, so well done.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to see a few.
One or two, yeah. So that keeps it all in balance.
Oh,
Yeah, you have to
crikey.
laugh. Honestly, it's God
Oh,
is. But yeah, we are just seeing everything now starting to turn. The tide's starting to turn, but we're not there yet.
oh, shocking.
And we see the culmination. We see Minas Tirith freed. We see the path. The army of the dead that fulfill their oath, and Aragorn fulfilling his promise. And we're seeing he's the king now. You know what I mean? It's just that's it.
Brilliant. I
And
know.
but it's still not over because unless Frodo gets that ring plopped where it's going, it's all over because the whole forces of Mordor are still behind the Black Gate, and that's where we pop back then to Sam and Frodo looking at the just thousands, tens of thousands of orcs still in Mordor.
Yes.
This was only a fraction of the forces.
That was brilliantly done, wasn't it? The distraction technique.
Yeah, this was just. But the fact that this was in such an intense battle and it took everything everybody had.
Yeah, and really they didn't even think they were going to succeed, did they? They
No.
only did it just to distract, really.
No, but
so
not even the Black Gate part, but the point of the attack of Minas Tirith was
right.
only a fraction of Mordor's forces.
Yeah, that was only a little bit.
That was
wasn't it?
when you see Sam and Frodo looking down the hill at the tens of thousands still encamped.
Yeah.
Not even like they're just chilling. They're not even taking part in the battle. Just waiting for the second wave. And we know that if the second wave comes now, nowhere's, you know what I mean, the armies are spent. They've used every trick they've got. They've like even come together.
Yeah.
Those Black Gates opening, they march out, then
wow, that scene was amazing.
But we see the scene then in the throne room, and I just love the way Gimli's just sitting in the steward's chair smoking a pipe. Like the whole atmosphere in that throne room's lifted because Denethor's gone, and Gimli's just sitting in his chair going, I don't really give two shits.
Yeah,
and nobody's. It's not like the nobody's showing deference to like Theoden's there, Aragorn's there, and Gimli's just sitting in the chair.
Yeah,
and nobody's caring because they're just at that point now that they're just at that levels of respect. I can't remember what.
It's amazing.
Gimli wasn't a king, but he was still significantly ranked as a dwarf. You know, he was a representative of the dwarves. But he wasn't. You know, he's sitting in basically a king's chair, just loafing about.
Yeah, he's a great character, eh? He really was. He's just so chill. Yeah, he's cool. Yeah.
But that whole this isn't over. We can't just leave it here. We'll have to go and make a stand. We'll have to do something, or else
it's all for nothing.
Because we see the bit. That's right. But did see that bit with Faramir meets Gandalf?
Yeah.
Before that, and he looks at Pippin, and you see the eyes because he recognizes the cloak and everything.
Yeah.
And you see the two of them. Oh, this isn't the first halfling. You see, and you see Pippin's eyes light up. You've seen Frodo. They just know straight away, and all of a sudden you see the realization on Faramir's face of the game that's being played. That this is like he nearly fluffed up. He nearly derailed. You kind of see that realization. Oh crap! I could have really messed up there if I had have taken the ring.
Yep. Yeah, you see that brilliantly played out.
And that was just a quick scene as well. Like, today that would have been explained like about 20 minutes and over laboured and everything else.
Oh, I know, right? Just
brilliant. And the actors that can do that, just perform and spend less time on Twitter. Get off Twitter and learn your craft, you muppets.
Yeah, exactly. Go and earn your living.
Stop putting another guff out on the screen. Then you won't have to go and strike because you'll earn money and things will bomb. We'll actually be interested in going to the cinema again because now I can barely motivate myself.
No. Did you end up going and watching Godzilla?
Oh no, God, I was busy this week.
Oh, right.
And then
Just to
I
change
might
the subject.
I
Sorry.
might get a chance to do that tomorrow because I'm doing another movie review. I'm doing June Part 1 with Adam and Saturday on his channel. That wasn't something I was planning to do.
Wow.
So I've got to
Yeah.
rewatch, and I'm trying to go through the audiobook quickly of the book again to try and get it in my
Oh,
head.
okay.
Because it's been years since I read that, and that's Tolkien's equivalent in sci-fi. You know what I mean? That's trying to cram that all in. That's all rattling about the back of my head as well. The world and universe.
You're gonna read the book again?
I have to get it because it's important. Because
it is, but
you have to at least be familiar. There's no point going to do a review with going, well, I didn't bother, because that's too hard.
Oh, of course, but
my
God,
it's like this. I'm lucky enough. I've read it so many times. I've watched this so many times, but I still watched it yesterday. Was it yesterday? I did the notes, or
yeah.
But I still watched it this week, and I still went through all the special features to get the whole thing in my head. Because there's no point sitting here unless I'm doing my due diligence.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the least you can do.
Dune is such a huge book. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's my weekend. So Godzilla kind of went to the back burner. That's because I got asked to do this stuff, and I was like, "Oh right, that's what I'm doing then." Okay, so I'll watch that sometime.
Yeah.
Okay, I might get a chance for the new year. I think they're extending it.
Fantastic.
But what else? Oh yeah, we forgot about those epic line from Eowyn.
Yep.
When the Witch King's like, "I could be killed by no man." She's like, "I'm no man." Have some of that.
I am no man. Oh wow. Yeah, that was
Suck
great.
it, Lawrence.
Yeah, exactly. That was a great scene. Great scene. She's cool. Super cool.
I haven't seen her in anything. I'll have to look her up and see what else she's been in because
Well, she's been in a few movies. She's an Australian actress, but she's been in a few movies.
Yeah, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. Because the problem is with this that they're all in their characters, like completely in the zone as their characters.
Yeah.
Where the wooden planks that come on screen now, you just see them as their actors that just happen to be wearing a suit. Where this,
exactly.
Like even Orlando Bloom when he is in the silly pirates thing.
I know.
It's completely unrecognizable. It takes a minute to go, oh God, that's Orlando Bloom,
Exactly, right? You can tell because of the eyes, but that's about it because he's completely done a makeover. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And his curly brown hair has gone now all long blonde wig. It's just amazing.
Yes. There's just an example.
All in character, yeah.
But we get everything culminating. Like we see Sam and Frodo just the way opens because Aragorn and the Forces decide to get together and they're just going to charge the Black Gate.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Just march up and go, "You'll come out here and explain yourself, young man."
Yeah.
I just love the way that was done so politely. Come out here and explain yourself what you're up to. You've been a very, very naughty Dark Lord. One thing I'm glad though, there was a scene in the extended version with the Herald of Sauron, and I didn't like that.
Right. Yes.
I don't think I'm glad they cut that bit out because that didn't really add anything.
They did cut a lot of things out that didn't need to be in there. Yeah. It was so much better without it because then the pacing was better and it didn't have that interruption. So
yeah, because that dialogue between the Herald and Aragorn and him cutting his head off because of course we had to have a proper decapitation, not those fake decapitations.
Yeah,
because I think what it was, he'd loaded up the catapults with the heads, and he's like, "Nobody's seen anybody be decapitated. I need a decapitation." You can just think I'll go through Jackson's head. I need a decapitation. It's not. I haven't had one yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was his little indulgence. Ah, yes, decapitation. Off with his head.
Off with his head, let's throw some heads around. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
but
better than decapitation.
the bit with the hurls, like, nah, I can't remember what the dialogue was, and then Arwen just like ends the conversation. Like,
Yeah.
that's that. He was. It's like Steve Knight trying to hold in one of his puns during a stream. It's that. It's like that. That's Jackson trying to hold in a decapitation during a movie. It's like you could see when I'm on a stream with Steve, and you know he's got one brewing. Because just you can just see the cogs ticking on, like, here it comes, and it'll just come, it'll just the bad joke will just arrive in, and you're just like, yep, there you go.
Oh dear.
We'll be doing the House of Drip Blood in the new year, and that's
God,
gonna be fun.
That sounds like fun.
Because the release on it and Peter Cushing.
Yeah,
Classic.
awesome.
Classic horror. But yeah, we'll get this, and the ring is kicking and screaming at this point. You could just, the way it's affecting Frodo, it's just going, I don't want to get thrown in the fiery hole. It's like, you're going, and then, of course, Gollum reappears.
Yep. But I mean, even them going up the mountain, it looks so real, you know? They just, wow.
Like, even for CGI and that, you're just like, that's not nice. That's dangerous.
No.
Get hurt walking up that.
Exactly. I mean, you can see the fireballs, you know, coming across, and they're way up in the sky, but you can see just how close they were getting to being burnt alive, you know. It's just, and then you can see they had physical props as well, which was quite good as well. So they had a mixture of the both, and it just went really, really well. Just that desperation going up the mountain. Yeah, this mountain that we've been listening to, you know, watching from a distance, and we're finally on the mountain, and it's everything we thought it would be and more.
Yeah, because if that had just been a quick walk over at the mountain now, you would have lost all the agency.
Absolutely. Would have been, well, what's the point in this mountain? What's so terrifying about this mountain, you know? And we actually get to see it, and we get to, you know, well, it's just amazing. Yeah,
just that on its own is enough peril.
Yep.
Like, that's, any person having to deal with that there would be, you know what I mean, well regarded for tackling it. And then, of course, Gollum appears again. And what's the rule of a horror movie? When you knock the thing down, you don't stand over the body and think it's over.
Yeah,
they made the classic horror movie mistake.
Do not turn your back.
When the unstoppable creature that you've thought you've killed about 6 times by now comes back again, you bash its head on the rock 20 times and keep going.
Exactly. Make sure he's gone. Oh my God. Chuck him in the fire.
Yeah.
But he'll probably come back.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because he's not ready yet. That was the cooler bits of the fire, and you could just see him. Actually, if they had thrown him into the lava, like going up the hill, you'd probably seen the head pop up and him coming back out again.
Yeah.
I guess this is Jason or Michael in a fantasy set.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, there you go again. Sam comes to the rescue, you know. If I can't carry the ring, I can carry you, you know. It's just like, well, there he goes again, just showing his growth as a character. Yeah,
and that's amazing. Brilliant line. And then we actually see the scene recreated at it takes us right back to the start.
It does.
We're in the walkway, we're along it, and instead of Elrond and Isildur, it's Sam and Frodo.
Exactly.
And the exact same, almost word for word, the exact same plays out. Cast it into the fire. No.
And your heart sinks, when he does that. It's like, what? After all this time, you're just gonna not do it? What? Yeah, it was just like, you know, even yesterday watching it, it's just like, it just took me back to when I first watched it, and you're just standing there going, oh my God, and the look on Sam's face was like, you can't do that. We've been through this whole journey together, and what's going on?
But you have to remember as well, this thing is sentient. And it knows
Yeah,
where it
wow.
is. It's not a mindless entity.
No.
It knows where it is.
Well, look how close it is to being connected back to its source.
Or
and
being
then
destroyed.
It's like
It's
all being destroyed.
this thing is at desperate levels too. It does not want to be destroyed. It wants to be on its master's finger.
Yeah. It's another character.
Mhm.
It's another character. Was it in the book? I'm just interested. Was the ring given that privilege of being another
Yes.
character? It was?
Yeah, because it's a malevolence. That's the and that's one thing this series of movies done well, because it could have been so easily brushed over.
Yeah, right.
But the ring it's all about. The ring wants to go back to its master. It is its only goal. It will use you, twist you, get you killed, do whatever it needs to do. It has actually power of its own.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's good to know, because it was like that whole way through both 3 movies, you know.
Yeah, that's one thing Jackson did really well, is actually bring out the ring, because that could have just been plopped in there, forgotten about until a dramatic moment needed to happen, but it didn't do that.
No.
And like I said, we're actually seeing the ring kicking and screaming and doing everything it can to live. So
hell yeah.
what chance do you have against that onslaught? It's not even whispering anymore, it's screaming.
Yeah.
And Frodo's already, he's been carrying this. We'll see Sam almost, because if Sam had held the ring earlier on, it wouldn't have had the same effect, but when he held the ring in Mordor, the ring is just openly crying out for its master. It knows it's so close too.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that took him by, you could see the shock of the weight of the malevolence.
Yes. Very powerful.
Yeah. But right at the end, we just see all's about to get lost, and of course Gollum comes back again. It's like,
oh wow, that was a very intense scene. Wow. Very intense. Dramatic.
Yeah, but I think it needed to happen. I just think maybe one less iteration. I can't remember 100% how many times Gollum popped back, but that scene happened anyway. Because that's Frodo became known as Frodo the Nine Fingers or something. I can't remember the phrase, but he did lose a finger, and he became known for it. But that whole struggle, and Gollum, finally has it.
Yeah. Oh, gives me chills.
But also, the minute Frodo put that on, Sauron's eye just sees the subterfuge, and it's just a race against time. Nobody's winning in this, as long as that ring exists.
Oh, could have just all gone so bad.
But that's right up to the last. We were on that teetering point. Just waiting for it.
Yep. And you could see the rest of the crew, outside trying to Gandalf and all that, trying to go through what they're going through, not knowing whether or not Frodo's succeeded or not, because nothing's happened. And then you see when it does happen, it's just like, oh my God, the relief that they all must feel, was just like, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was like a wave of just relief. But even them seeing Sauron's eye turn towards Mount Doom, and there's everything scrambling, and like a whole army almost turning on its back. All of them, just that desperation of their master's voice in their head, go to the mountain. The Nazgul rushing. They knew they were right in the precipice. They knew they'd done the right thing.
Yeah.
And then
even
the ring getting destroyed, though, the actual ring, when Gollum drops and falls, it doesn't go straight away.
No. Stubborn little bastard.
It takes, but that's even brought up to start. Nothing can, this thing is not destroyable. You can't, Gimli smashes with his hammer. No forge alive could get rid of it. Gandalf putting it in the fire. We see that this thing is resilient. So I'm glad that it didn't just go with a plop. Actually, that last scene with the ring just sitting on the surface and glowing with the runes like it did at the very beginning.
Yep.
And then finally getting destroyed, but it wasn't an easy thing. And it sort of shows that the work that Sauron put into it, that this was not a trinket.
No, absolutely not. No, it was very special ring, obviously. And I love the fact that they didn't just plonk it in there and that it just ended up melting straight away. It was like a moment of, is it going to? Is it going to? Is it not? No, it was just brilliant. Peter Jackson, brilliant stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then that just whole scene, everything just crashing down, and know it's the end. Just that we all felt it too. I think I remember in the cinema, just bloody hell, that was a ride, because that's just taking you back to, just going from right up there, just back to
It's done. It's done. It was just like, wow. 12 hours later and it's done. Oh no, does that mean it's gonna finish? Oh.
Yeah. And then we have obviously the bittersweet. We're seeing things rebuilding. We see Aragorn be crowned.
Beautiful moment. The inauguration was beautiful.
It was so simple as well.
It was. And his speech was so powerful and profound and suiting for him. They didn't make it so he's some big grandeur king or whatever. It was just so simple.
King Charles could
take well done.
King Charles could take a note or two.
King who?
Oh yeah, God. We have 20 years of that. The Yanks complain about 4 years of who they have in charge of them, and we've got 20 years of this fucker.
Yeah.
Oh dear, that's another conversation.
Yeah.
It's like 4 years is nothing. Stop whining.
Yeah, God.
But
yes,
the whole scene as well, Elrond turning up with the elves and Arwen, and she was bowing her head to him. Like that scene of her bowing her head, you're like, because it isn't just somebody being, this is prophecy being fulfilled.
Yeah.
Across all the races of the, the Return of the King, this is a prophecy being fulfilled.
Yeah.
And it's that almost quasi-religious thing.
Possibly, yeah.
There is that bit of, aspect to it.
Do you think that, like, perhaps maybe she was a bit worried that maybe he didn't want her anymore? That kind of crossed my mind, which is why she bowed. But then I'm thinking, well, maybe she bowed to him anyway because he's the king. So
yeah, I think it was a bit of the prophecy that, they've lived with this prophecy since Isildur's fall.
Yeah.
And this is, this isn't like 5 minutes. This is 2,000 odd years.
Yeah. Yeah,
plus,
true.
There's a couple of thousand years of this prophecy, and then it finally being fulfilled and personified.
It's insane.
And they've been living with this threat, and then the actual end of it and the new age. It's just a bit overwhelmed, but I think we also see the shock as well of Aragorn going, why are these people bound to me? I'm just doing a job sort of thing.
Yeah. It goes to show his personality though, it
was brilliantly done, but then those two just, what do you mean that you're to be my wife sort of thing, and they're already seen it in prophecy, visions, etc. They know, but getting that moment out of the way was just fantastic.
Yeah. It was the best way to end it. Really, really was that whole moment. Yeah, it was great.
And then obviously the scene with the hobbits, and then that line, "My friends, you bow to no one."
Yeah. Oh God.
Like,
oh.
They were all of a sudden things have changed, and they're all doing it. It's like the Shire might know of the world, but the whole world now knows of the Shire, sort of thing.
Exactly.
The next
Wow, the
Hobbit
Hobbit
decides to leave the
saved.
shower, people will be buying from them. That's the impact.
Yeah, I know. Like four little hobbits. Four little hobbits.
But that's part of the story as well. That you don't not everything's all about bravery is all shapes and sizes, and it's just a matter of you step up and you can do amazing things. If you just stand up
That's
and be
right.
counted, if you push yourself, you be surprised what you can achieve.
Yep. Yep. You see the underdogs come through, these little hobbits that everyone's like laughing at, and they save the day.
I haven't read the book in years. Did the movie ending line up with the book ending? No. Close enough to this point, and then obviously the hobbits return home and fall back into lines. But this is where the book goes on a bit, and we meet Sharky, who's
Right.
effectively enslaved. It's Saruman basically and Worthington taking their revenge and have enslaved the Shire. And that's what they come back to. So the hobbits actually end up having their own battle to fight.
Crikey. Wow. I don't know if I want to read the books now.
It's done really well actually, because the end if you watch the theatrical cut, you're kind of scratching your head.
Yeah.
And if you've never watched the movie, you are scratching them. What, they've just left Saruman up there?
Okay.
Do you know? And I was scratching my head, going, "Oh right, they must be late," because I'd obviously read the books beforehand. I'm like, "All right, I know what's coming next. That's what they're setting us up for." And then when I got to the end with the return to the Shire, like, that's not right.
That
There's a wee bit to go yet.
And
then I thought,
even
and even in the extended edition, it's like when he left Tom Bombadil and he left a few things out of the TLOTRs. You can do without them, if that makes sense, because it kept the tightness of the efficiency of storytelling, which people have forgotten today, because that's why every movie's like 2 hours long and absolute snore fest. But yeah, you've that whole scene gets played out, and that's where Saruman meets his end, actually in the Shire, not on
in the tower.
Isengard. I was about to say Isengard. He doesn't mean it there, but
Isengard.
The extended edition at least gives you that and ties up that bit of the story.
Interesting.
But I think it worked out, because we're seeing that they're still coming together. They're still Frodo's still haunted, even though he writes the next part of the book. Sam, it turns out, is still torn, even though he finally marries Rosie.
Yeah.
He still feels loyalty towards Frodo.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, it's hinted, but in the book it goes on a bit more, but it's Frodo's never, because he's being touched by the ring, much like Bilbo.
Yeah.
They're always going to be tainted by it, so that's why the elves extend their courtesy.
Right. Oh God, that scene. Oh my God. But what I did actually love as well was, the eagles. The eagles were just amazing, coming down and swooping down and saving Frodo and Sam.
And joining the battle at the end. There's a bit of politics, because eagles can actually speak, but they don't speak in the film.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting.
They have a kingdom. The eagles actually have a kingdom, and it was negotiating to get them in. They're a bit like the Ents in that respect, that they were standoffish, long-lived, so they didn't see why they had to join in.
Oh, okay.
So there's a bit of that, but where would you find room to fit that whole scene in the movie?
Well, you wouldn't, and I don't know if that would have worked as well as it did. Just having them swoop down with,
Don't forget, with a book, you have time. You can read a chapter, you can set it down, you can digest it, you can pick it up again, you can carry on. You're not in a rush. You can take a month to read a book if you want, or longer. You can reread bits, you can go back. You don't do movies, a different medium. Film is a different medium.
Absolutely.
And I think some people forget that.
I think they do too.
Oh, they're trying to be edgelords, or they're trying to just nitpick for the sake of nitpicking. I try not to do that myself. I that's one thing. It's easy to fall in that trap, but I at least try when I review things that understand the medium I'm dealing with and try to give a wee bit of a nuanced view. I hope I do manage that most of the time.
Yeah.
But it's the same as this. If I didn't enjoy this movie, if I felt like something was lacking, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's not. But
absolutely. Then you would. You do.
Yeah. If I felt there wasn't, like, you're going to hear me in a few weeks' time when we get to those points.
Okay.
You're going to hear me because yeah.
I might be joining in too. You never know. It's been a while.
But this, I didn't feel like I was let down. I didn't feel like anything was left out. And actually, that scene as well, the parting of the ways when the elves are traveling to the Undying Lands. I was saying goodbye to the movie too. Not just the cast; they were acting out, and you could feel the emotion. And we've been on a 3-year journey with these movies, and it was coming to the end. It was just done well. Shay says, I could never get through the books because of how weirdly worded they were. I was reading The Hobbit. I was talking about Bilbo, then it said, but anyway, and rambled on about his mum. Yeah. Obviously, The Hobbit's it's a language, it's 1950s language. It's a different language at the time. It's also, Tolkien was a linguist, so he wrote a completely different language. He wrote Elven, he created languages. That was his job. That was his profession, and he just had a love of languages, and he just happened to craft them into a story. I've said this before about the book, Lord of the Rings. If you want to read it and you're having trouble, do it in 3 stages. So when you're reading Lord of the Rings, forget the songs.
That's right.
So read the story, skip the songs. Read it through once. Leave it, let it digest. Better still, even don't read Lord of the Rings. Read get the 3 books if you're having trouble. But use the same technique. So read the Fellowship of the Ring. Read it through. Ignore the songs. Let it down. Let it digest. Go back. Read the songs only. Then go back and read the full thing. And it helped me because I'm... Sometimes it takes me a minute. I take a bit of time to digest some stuff. I don't have that. I never did have that sort of sharp. I can just absorb loads and loads of information at once. I'm on vacation. I'm in repetition. I do chunk size. I repeat, and then build it up that way. But that's a technique I found to actually digest these and enjoy them, because it's a history lesson as well in the book, which you don't get as much here. He's also gone back to previous ages. He's telling history lessons. He's talking about lineages, which has all been cut out for the movie because it's a lot of information to take in. They're not easy books to read. And anyone that goes, oh yeah, I found it easy, they're an idiot. You're talking to a moron, and you don't need that sort of person in your life. You
just read the words and you didn't take anything in.
But if somebody's going to, I find it easy, they're just it's a horrible person you don't need in your life. If someone ever does that, you just about anything, I suppose, just do one. But there are people like that.
Oh, I haven't met one, but yeah, I bet there are.
Try working. I spent a few years in the civil service, starting my career. You meet them all the time. Just they're trying to talk down to you. They're trying to.
Oh yes.
I'm not so yesterday playing a game. Try to make a fool out of me. I'm really annoyed by it. I had a moment. I was nearly about to leave the stream. I was like starting to feel red mist. Try to belittle me over playing a character because I happen to not be an archaeologist and did something off the cuff.
Don't bite.
Oh no, I didn't. I just sort of went along, but I was seething.
Oh,
absolutely. But it just shows how petty. If that's the only way someone like that can go, well, guess what? I don't need someone like that. Don't need someone like that in my life. But there's people like that, and they deal with this book in particular.
Wow.
And then that puts people off reading it or trying to read it.
Mm.
Where watching this movie, if the movie's done its job, if the 3 movies have done their job, you want to learn more. You want to delve into this universe.
Yes, you do.
So you should want to read the book, but just don't be daunted by it.
Yeah.
And as I've said, I'm no intellectual. I'm not an academic. So I just show how I've got through things.
Yep.
And I'm pretty decently read, I think.
Good advice.
But yeah, that ending scene, just and this Sam's face as well, and the shock, and the fact that Frodo was leaving too.
I think we were all shocked, the first time that happened, the first time we saw that, but it was a bit shocking. But you could also see that he was thinking, oh, what am I going to do now? When he returned to the Shire.
Yeah, he was like Merry and Pippin got on, they found their place. Sam found his place.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it was. Sam was feeling responsible towards Frodo because Frodo was not settling back. He was isolated, lonely. He was almost becoming Bilbo again,
Yes.
He was repeating go down the same path as Bilbo.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that was just an absolute poignant scene. And then just saying goodbye, to the movie. Like that was a really bittersweet moment.
It was, wasn't it? And then Annie Lennox's song comes on, and it's the end of the journey, and it's like, oh my God, no. Ah.
If you don't get teary-eyed at the end of this trilogy, you're not human. That's true. And that's good art.
Yeah.
That is good art. That
you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. If you don't have any sort of emotional reaction to the final scene, well, you didn't really get the point, did you?
No, you haven't been in. How have you managed so far along the journey? Investing so much time.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's when you've seen that's good storytelling. That's the basics. Special effects just were icing on the cake. The fact this looked brilliant was an icing on the cake. It was this characterization of stories. That's what made this its own, because we have seen more money being spent. We have seen, I'd say the word loosely, but better special effects in movies.
Yeah.
As things have progressed, but not really.
No.
There's...
Yeah.
I think that sent ripples as well along Hollywood, and there's this being jealousy of Tolkien's work, the fact that it exists. And there's always, especially fantasy writers, are like, that we're in the next Tolkien, this is the next Tolkien, and you're like, why are you doing that? And there's always been this bitterness towards it just because it exists and because it's a gold standard of storytelling.
It is.
The fact that these movies exist and it's a gold standard of movie making, like there's no if, buts, or maybes. It has seeded this. Hollywood's become Denethor. There's loads of Denethors in Hollywood. Just to see the throne, and they can't stand that it exists, that there's that level above them that they can't aspire to. And they don't try, and that's why this whole deconstruction as well, just tear it down and let's make shitty TV shows that don't even resemble it because of just pure spite and jealousy.
Oh no. I know what's happening.
I don't claim for a minute to be a best-selling author or fantastic storyteller. I'm still learning and I don't put enough work into it. But I do not begrudge anyone success that does. You know what I mean? Why would you? That is madness.
Yeah, I know, right?
That is just utter lunacy to get on with that.
That just goes to show what sort of people are out there,
Yeah.
You just...
But we have seen the work suffers when you've got that mentality.
Yeah, of course it does.
Because this should have been a beacon of this is what you can achieve for a modest budget in terms of blockbuster movies.
Absolutely.
Each one less than 100 million. And wrote their own ticket.
I know.
Even today, you know, special editions. Like, why didn't Warner Brothers? They should have been releasing this every year in the cinemas again. That company, look at how far that company's fallen. Their latest movie's coming out, and it's gone down like a wet fart. You know, I just can't wait till it's out till it gets forgotten about, because there's a lot of chatter online about it. But all the chatter is this character going to appear because she's a horrible person. Is she going to, how much screen time she got? And you're like,
oh
who
God,
gives a shit? It's a crap movie. Nobody cares. It'll be forgotten about 2 days after it releases. Once all the chatter, it'll be forgotten about, and it'll be on to the next thing. That's movie making today. Nobody cares. There's no excitement.
No.
The Marvel stuff kind of did at the beginning, but it quickly descended into farce.
It did.
You know, there was a bit leading up to that story. There was excitement, but it wasn't this level. But it was an attempt.
No.
There was an attempt by studios. Oh, we can do this, and then they fell into their own narcissism and just destroyed it before it even finished.
Exactly.
So they don't have it. They're running over old franchises because they've nothing of their own. They can't do this.
And there's no imagination, you know. They don't. Oh, they're going no. It's just a dog eat dog world, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, but they're not even.
You don't even see the actors trying anymore. No. You know, you don't even see them acting anymore. It's like they're just going through the motion.
They have contracts like the superhero stuff. If they have to have their mask taken off every 10 minutes in case people forget who the actor is.
Yeah.
These people became unrecognizable.
Totally.
Most of the cast, you would not, you know, you saw them in the street walking past, you would not recognize them outside of their because they morphed into these characters.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
They were prepared to do that.
Yeah.
And like I said, Orlando Bloom's a brilliant example of it, because when he appeared in because I only ever watched 1 or 2 of those Pirates, but I didn't mind the first one. Pirates of the Caribbean. Didn't mind the first one. It's all right. I wasn't like excited, but when they started making like 10 million sequels, but it took me a double take to recognize Orlando Bloom, because he completely changed from Legolas.
Yep.
But it didn't do him any harm, because the minute you're, oh bloody hell, it's and away you go. You're on board. But now they're so terrified because they've nothing to offer.
No, I know.
So it's like, oh, my contract must have my flippy mask come up. I must be shown as me in case people forget who I am. And then they're worried about AI taking over their jobs because of that wouldn't themselves, that the AI probably does a better job.
Oh.
And you look at the crap writing out there, then you can understand why they're afraid of AI, because could it do any worse?
Exactly. That's a scary thought.
Yeah. But things come in cycles. This has got the end.
Yeah.
It can't be this forever. There's going to be another Peter Jackson. There has to be. Like he's mentor. I believe, isn't that right? That's what he spends his time doing. He mentors like young students or aspiring filmmakers.
Yeah, yeah.
Bound to be another Peter Jackson appear. As long as there's not another Taika Waititi, you can keep him.
I know.
You've seen the way he's the absolute muppet.
The Americans are starting to really hate him, eh?
Oh, he's just rubbed people up the wrong way massively, and you're just like, well,
even the actors are like, we don't want to work with him anymore. He's just turned this whole thing into a freaking joke.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. He's burnt his bridges well and truly. Where Peter Jackson, he's always be held in high regard. But then back to the whole jealousy thing, he was meant to be involved with that TV show, and the little spiteful creatures knew they'd never like step up to the plate. They'd never reach his standard, so that they're all their sly moves, and then look what they produced.
I've never watched them.
No, I've seen enough of the clips. I've seen enough, and I've seen enough of the interviews even before it began to go, no, thank you.
No. There's enough of those sorts of things on Netflix at the moment, so they can just stay there. I'm not bothered.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fart
No,
in the
Lord
wind.
of the Rings is done as far as I'm concerned. It's done.
Yeah, but
You
this
don't
will.
need to rehash it.
Yeah, they can't take this away. It's built. It's there. It'll always be the comparison,
It will be. It will
and it'll
be.
always be the standard that anything tries it again that things are held up to.
Yeah.
And that's they don't like that, because then if you're a grifter and you have to actually put effort in, nobody likes to. Well, they're doing it. That's why if you're the hard worker in a workplace and you're doing your job, you'll get the derision, because like, why can they do it and you can't?
Yeah, that's right.
That's just human nature.
Yep.
But anyway, I think we've got King Kong next.
Yes, we do.
That's going to be
And then
interesting.
Oh, that's going to be. Oh, I love King Kong. When I watched him at the movies, I fell in love with a monkey.
Yeah. However, is this where we start to see maybe the turn in Peter Jackson, where he starts to maybe overindulge a bit?
Well, we might. Yes.
That'll be the discussion we'll be having, and that will be an interesting one, because we have gushed for right up to this point. We have like nothing but praise, but like all things, it does turn, and it'll be interesting just to see what happens. That's the whole point of this deep dive, is how did the horror director become like superstar in Hollywood that could basically write his own ticket, and then what went right and what then went wrong, and how did we end up where we are now? Like, what's he doing to pull out the ashes? Because that's we'll sort of have a retrospective at the end of all this, I think.
Yep.
And just
100%.
go over and see what's happened. But yeah, I do believe it's King Kong next. That'll be in the new year. We'll get that date organized and put up there. But Dale, as always, absolutely pleasure. This has been near 3 hours.
I know.
Believe it or not.
We're so good.
Didn't even realize the time was marching on. It's like, oh my word, we've
this
really
is the only time that I don't vape all the time. It was when I'm with you.
But look what we're talking about. At the end of the day, it's absolutely fascinating to dive into this stuff.
Yeah, I could talk about them for hours.
Absolutely. Also, folks, if you haven't had enough of Dale, we'll get to hear the Gilded Mirror tomorrow. That'll be dropping 9 p.m. So that's up. I had to flip and re-record that because its software glitched the first time and just it sounded awful tinny. So I just recorded from the start.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully it sounds better and half decent. But yeah, Dale's story will be appearing tomorrow. As always, when the premiere drops, you can take place in the live chat. It's open now until the first showing happens, and don't forget to share it around. But until then, keep up to date with the channel, do the typey clicky things. Until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.